Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Monday Night Raw review. And I'm back in the saddle again, baby. Yep, this is the TWitWoW intro you guys all know and love for Monday Night Raw. I did watch Raw tonight with my cohort and commentary here, and my reaction is,
Wow, that was underwhelming.
yeah, because, I kind of had a revelation watching this show. And I realize just how important the crowd is sometimes for me to get through Raw, because this crowd to me sucked tonight. I'm going to say that flat
I
out.
agree the crowd was dead, but how much of that is their fault and how much of that is just because of how bad this show was?
And that was going to be my second point, Ashton, because let's not lose sight of something here. This was the go-home show to Fastlane.
Oh my god, that's right. That makes it even worse.
It does. It does make it even worse, because there was a TWitWoW or some commentary that we did, and I remember I gave you my early anticipation for Fastlane, and I think you even said, like, oh, I thought that was a little harsh. No, this is why my anticipation for the show is so low, because I look at this show, dude, and honestly, to me, this show was so lifeless, and this show was produced in such a way that, in my opinion, they didn't make me feel like they cared about Fastlane. To me, this show admitted that they think Fastlane is what I've always thought it was, merely a pit stop to the bigger show, WrestleMania. I feel like they're putting the pieces together more for WrestleMania than they have for this show, as oddly as it sounds. Meanwhile, SmackDown, because they don't have to worry about a final pit stop, we're getting Luke Harper versus AJ Styles tomorrow night. Winner gets the WWE Championship match. And that's another thing. One thing that persistently bothers me about Raw is that I feel like they always lack the hook. And that's not to say that the ending of this show wasn't good. I actually thought it was the best part of the freaking show, and we'll get to that later. But, like, what's going to make me come back next week? Like, where's the anticipation? Where is the hype for anything? Because I go into every Raw, I'll be honest, with a sense of dread, knowing that it's 3 hours, knowing that it can be plodding through a lot of it, knowing that there are talented people, but they aren't used properly, and so on and so on and so on. I mean, I feel like I've said enough for the time being. What did you think of this Raw tonight?
This Raw, to me, was trash. I was actually talking to our boy, Deluxe Man, on Facebook about this Raw, and he made the point that he feels like Raw has been pretty decent since the Royal Rumble. And I went back and I looked, and I realized that it's on like an every other week schedule, because the first show after Rumble was pretty decent. That was the show Joe debuted on. And then the next show after that was on February 6th, and that was trash. And then the 13th, I'm getting these backwards, I think. But basically the conclusion that we arrived at was that there have been 2 good shows since the Royal Rumble. Or three good shows since the Royal Rumble. But the thing is, only one of those 3 shows have been in the last 3 weeks. So if you want to be positive, you can say Raw has been 3 for 5 since the Royal Rumble. But if you're more of a recent, what have you done for me lately kind of person like I am, they've had 2 crappy shows out of the last 3.
Exactly. I mean, I really was not feeling this Raw at all. And again, this was the final push before Fastlane. And honestly, like, if you put this show in a vacuum, outside of performers naming the pay-per-view, nothing as far as actual content goes made me believe that a pay-per-view was on the horizon, save for maybe like a few angles done here and there. Again, I feel like Raw is even looking past Fastlane and thinking, okay, we got to build to Mania, which is fine, but then why even have Fastlane to begin with? I feel like if you've got any show coming up, that should always take priority.
Dude, here's the thing. I agree that it feels like they're looking past Fastlane, but at the same time, would you really want to trust Raw with a 10-week period between Rumble and Mania without any pay-per-views to just put filler matches on?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, because I think about that.
I honestly feel like even though Fastlane is going to be trash, the existence of Fastlane this coming Sunday is going to help WrestleMania to suck less.
You know what? You might just be right about that. And while we're talking about all things sucking and underwhelming, let's just get to our first segment. Heat of the
Oh
night.
God, where do I start?
Do you want to go first? Because I can tell you right now that I originally thought I was going to have 4 nitpicks and like 1 heat of the night, but I actually forgot one of my nitpicks, so I have 2 nitpicks and
Getting
1 heat of the night.
toasty up in here. Holy balls.
Yeah, so do you want to go first or should I?
Um, you know what? I mean, I don't know if you remember, but we used to do like a pendulum thing where we'd go back and forth and not just like, oh, I'm going first. Let me name all of my heats. No, you name one and then I'll name one and we'll go back and forth.
Sounds good to me. I'll start with my one nitpick, which could rightly be described as the pickiest of nits. I didn't like that Big Show was on this show tonight. Because I went back and
Yes,
I watched that main event with
yes,
Strowman.
dude.
Yeah,
I wasn't super active. I don't want to act like I was live tweeting during the whole show, but I did some live tweeting during the show, and one of the tweets that I put out was literally that it took them 1 week after figuring out how to use the Big Show properly to forget how to use the Big Show properly.
and dude, I just want to make explicitly clear to everybody, this is not me knocking on the Big Show. He still looks great, and the match wasn't even necessarily
No,
bad. It's just the
dude, that's the
booking.
thing. Like last week, the Big Show being used in the capacity he was used last week worked. But why the hell are you going to give me the Big Show 2 weeks in a row?
Exactly, because already then the mystique starts to diminish, and that was
Yeah,
my problem. You know,
and you're putting him in a 2-on-1 match because it's what Braun does. Like that doesn't make sense to me.
I didn't like that either. Because, dude, my whole mindset was, okay, you have Big Show last week in a main event that felt like a legitimate main event, really felt like a big deal. You know, even commentary was on point, everything, like a great spread. And then I'm thinking, okay, so you have Big Show retreat for a while. You could even have him come back. I wouldn't even care if he was on every Raw leading up to Mania because I even heard that the Shag match might be canceled. So they may want to have Big Show
What?
be a part of the Battle
Are
Royal.
you serious? He's been talking about this whole time, and that match was set in stone for months, and now we're hearing rumbles that it might not happen. That is
Yeah,
hilarious.
Shaq apparently said on a podcast, like, yeah, it's not looking good. So,
Oh my god. So the Big Show dedicates himself. Like, here's the hilarious thing about that story. Big Show has a 20-year, a 2-decade-long wrestling career, weighing in at well over 400 pounds, most of which he spent at 500 pounds. And then he finds out that he might have an opportunity to wrestle a former basketball player who's going to be over 40 years old by the time this happens at WrestleMania, dedicates himself completely to getting in shape, gets down to like 350 pounds at 7 feet tall. That's the kick in the ass that it took for him to get in shape, and now it might not even happen. That is hilarious.
that is hilarious. Hilariously sad,
I was
but
just gonna say
hilarious.
it's tragic, but it's hilarious.
So, you know what? Yeah, I mean, you already took the words out of my mouth for my nitpick about Big Show being on this show. I feel like that's poor booking. I feel like with Big Show being in the shape that he's in and the kind of match he put on last week, you want that to ferment. You want that to age well. You don't want to just shove Big Show right back in our faces a week after. And again, even if you wanted to have him on every Raw leading up to Mania, I could forgive it if only a bit because it's like, well, whatever, it's Mania. But then after that, I'd pull it back immensely. I wouldn't have Big Show on again until SummerSlam. Really only have him either work big Raws that you want to make big or notable pay-per-views. He's at that age in his career where honestly he shouldn't be working multiple dates or this, that, or the other. So that was my first nitpick. You go first, my friend, because I think we're both pretty pissed at this Raw for a variety of reasons.
Okay, so it seems like you're starting with your weakest complaints and working your way up to the biggest ones. So I'll
Right.
start with my biggest complaint, and we'll see where we meet in the middle.
Fair enough.
My biggest complaint about this entire show, 2 words, and it's already been mentioned multiple times in chat. You ready for this, John?
Oh, I think I know them. I haven't looked at chat, but I think I know them. What are they?
Stephanie McMahon.
Stephanie fucking McMahon. And that was my heat of the night, so I'm down to one nitpick. Oh my god, dude, this bitch. But you go. It was your heat of the night.
Dude, the thing is, like what you just said, that, oh my god, this bitch, that's what everyone feels like. But the worst thing is, it doesn't even matter because no matter how much we hate her, no babyface is ever going to benefit from that heat. Ever.
I don't want to like intrude upon your heat of the night here, but I've just got to get off my chest since we share it. the one thing that pisses me off the most, and it's not even like it was just a thing on this Raw, it's been kind of a recurrent theme. Her whole interactions with Bayley, I'm thinking to myself, right, how cool would that freaking be? Like, if instead of a Bayley Sasha feud, which I do want, I do want that feud, maybe we'd get Bayley versus Stephanie at SummerSlam, and Bayley goes over. Like, that could be just the shot in the arm her character needs. But you and I both know that's not
Hey
going to
guys, do
happen.
you remember when Brie Bella feuded with Stephanie McMahon and we all thought that they were going to try and turn Brie into the next big face of the division, only for them to put her in a feud with her own sister and completely blow any of the heat that they got on Stephanie in the process?
Exactly.
That was Stephanie's big return to the ring, was, oh yeah, I'll return to the ring, but I'm winning and you're not getting any heat off of me. Thanks.
Exactly. And, just to build on a point that you and I were conversing about, because sometimes I feel like things we say in conversation are worthwhile to bring to the podcast, you talked about the times that Stephanie actually did try and transfer her heat. I said...
Yeah. I don't think she's ever actually tried to transfer her heat. Because let's be real, Vicky Guerrero on her way out.
Right.
Ronda Rousey, one-time appearance.
Exactly.
Who was the other one? Roman Reigns. That was the one time that she legitimately tried to transfer her heat, and it was on a hopeless case.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is, it worked for 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's it. And, that's the thing. It'd be so much better spent like on a babyface that could actually maintain that momentum, like a Bayley. And hell, I may not really like her as much as a face, but even Sasha as a babyface, I feel like would have a better chance of maintaining that momentum of putting Stephanie in her place than Roman freaking Reigns. It's just, but they won't do it though. And that's what pisses me off about these interactions, because you have Stephanie being such a bitch, both to them and to Mick Foley, which to be fair,
and at least, my thing too is like, at least with the Bayley Sasha stuff, like there's a shred, like, and it's tiny, like 0.01%. There's a shred of hope that either Bayley or Sasha, preferably Bayley, will give Stephanie a comeuppance one day. But like I said, the odds are so slim, you can't even, not only can you not count on it, but to me, counting on it is just going to set yourself up for a miserable failure in the future.
I agree. And, I just, God.
Because really, how many babyface women has Stephanie, and even heel women, she's talked down to heel women too. How many just women in general in the WWE has Stephanie talked down to over the last, 5 or 6 years, just since she returned as a major on-screen character? And not only did they not talk back to her on the screen because it wasn't in the script, and they know that if they go off script, Stephanie will chew them out backstage, but then not only that, but they never got any kind of comeuppance on her either.
Right.
Like, I feel like I remember her doing that to AJ Lee. I know she did that to Caitlyn. I feel like she did that to Paige. I mean, we already know she's been doing it to Charlotte and Sasha and Bayley, and I believe even Becky over the course of the last year and a half, 2 years. Like, it's been happening consistently for years now. And I mean, the only person that ever even really came close to giving her the comeuppance she deserves was Brie freaking Bella. And then again, Stephanie won the blow-off match, and Nikki Bella ended up getting all of the heat. And then that feud between those sisters got literally thrown away after 2 months.
Exactly. It's just the most maddening fucking
There's no explanation as to why the feud ended. It was just, I want you to be my slave for a month, and by the end of the month, they were friends again.
Yeah. I mean, God. I wish I could get excited. I wish Stephanie was the type of heel figure
that
if she was like her dad, yeah. If she's lashing at somebody, I could get excited because I think to myself, oh man, that means Stephanie's going to put herself out there for this person. But no, it's completely selfish. And look, I don't like coming on here and talking bad about somebody on a personal level, and I'm trying to keep it to a professional critique, but from a professional critique, Stephanie does her role fucking horribly. Because it's great to be a heel. Believe me, nobody knows that better than me. But when you're a heel for a living like you are with the WWE, the main thing is it's got to have some fucking payoff. What's the payoff of you going to Bailey and Sasha when they're icing their necks and rubbing it, their noses in it, if you're not going to feel anything, if you're not going to get a Bailey to belly, if you're not going to taste a bank statement or anything like that? It's so fucking plain. And see, that's the thing.
Too, like, really, the Bailey to belly would be the perfect thing because that's like the easiest bump possible to take. Like, Bailey could even do it. Like, she first of all, she's a light worker in the first place, but then, like, not only is it a really simple low elevation back bump, but she can break your fall by just controlling your weight on the way down. Like, that would be the easiest bump for Stephanie McMahon to possibly take, and I guarantee you it's not going to happen.
It's infuriating, bro. It really is. And that's the thing. We give Stephanie all this time.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I don't usually even try to acknowledge chat during our TwitWows. That's more of a live reactions thing. But Paulium Gregory made a great point. Vince McMahon, the guy who has such a massive ego that he hates people who sneeze because it means a loss of control, was more willing to let himself look foolish on television than his daughter.
I know. It's so frustrating.
Even though it wasn't intentional, I will never forget Vince tearing both of his quads trying to get into the ring.
Right.
Like, it wasn't intentional, but it was still one of the best comedic moments in WWE history because he gets in the ring, tears both of his quads, and then continues in character from his ass.
I mean, here's the thing about Raw that really just frustrates me, and more specifically to your heat of the night and my heat of the night that we share, Stephanie McMahon. Like, and I hate to say this, but I think we can all accept it even begrudgingly at this point. Styles versus Shane at Mania, that's happening, and I hate it. I hate everything about it. But
so you think Styles is going to get screwed somehow tomorrow night then?
He's either going to get screwed or caught or something. He's going to bitch about it again on Talking Smack, and it's really going to begin the downward spiral of Styles. But my point being, why I even bring that up in the first place, even though I hate the idea, and I even hate how Shane works because he's old and whatever, at least he'll give a lot to AJ. If nothing else, he'll give him the fucking win. And I can't say that for Stephanie because the one time you competed, you won. And then you never allow anybody, even verbally, to get anything over on you. So say what you will about the whole McMahon family drama, but I can at least say that Shane is willing to give what he needs to maintain AJ's momentum if you're going to jeopardize it by having him work with Shane in the first place. Whereas with Stephanie, honestly, I say, how great it would be if, like, Bailey worked Stephanie at SummerSlam. But remembering Brie, I'm not even so sure about that anymore because who's to say Stephanie wouldn't go over again?
Well, and the whole thing there is, like, they're never going to have just a regular, clean one-on-one match that Stephanie McMahon is a part of because, like, they treat her like they freaking treat, like, 2003 Triple H. Like, she can't lose clean, and that's ridiculous because she's not even a trained friggin' wrestler.
Except she's not even, like, an active competitor, but you know what? I have wasted
and that's another thing. Remember how Stephanie McMahon got credited for the Divas Revolution or the Women's Revolution?
Don't remind me. I can literally feel.
To be fair, technically Triple H deserves credit because the female can't pass on a Y chromosome, only the male can, and Triple H still refused to do it.
That's certainly true, but you know what?
3 times Triple H passed on the X.
3 whole times.
I guess that Degeneration X blood sticks around for a while, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. But I've wasted enough of my breath talking about Stephanie. If there are any other points you want to make, because initially was your heat of the night, please do so, or I will make my next nitpick known, and I can pass the buck back to you.
I can't stand McFoley lately either, but the segment with her and Foley was the worst.
I hated it. Because here's the thing, and I've got to be fair. I've got to be even-handed. I know why they're doing it, because sooner or later Mick's going to go off and get his surgery and everything. But couldn't you find a better way? Or better yet, couldn't you just have him do his job and then go away quietly like Shane and Brian do? Like, maybe you make an announcement here of a segment there, but then you just go away? Like, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, we're only having that undressing to build tension, so then, blah, 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 write them off. And that's fine. It's barely, but it's fine. But wouldn't it just be better altogether if you just kept them in the fucking background and you focused on the wrestling and you focused on the stories that are actually going to carry through to WrestleMania? Like, honestly, I hope Raw watches SmackDown. Hell, even NXT this week. We're getting 2 title matches on NXT this week. Peyton Royce versus Asuka, and then DIY versus AOP for the tag titles in a rematch. Like, both those shows are kicking Raw's ass, and Raw, you had the fucking go-home show, so you can't even rest on your laurels of, oh, well, we got Fastlane, because if this show was any indication, Fastlane is going to be utter shit.
I gotta tell you, my
best.
anticipation as far as Fastlane goes is at like a 1.5, maybe 2.
Well, welcome to my world, bud, because that's where I've been for a while, remember? And this show didn't do it any favors.
Well, you know what though? I feel like if you would have watched last week, you might have bumped up to like a 5 or a 6. But then, like coming back to this week, no, it's just garbage.
And I did watch I didn't watch the whole show, but I did watch the stuff that seemed really intriguing to me, and I'm like, oh man, that's awesome. And I feel like they undid a lot of that goodwill that they built last week.
I mean, even as simple as just the Big Show, I feel like I was so much more excited for him 4 hours ago than I am now because they used him again tonight in a lame way.
Right. Jesus. So do you have anything else you want to say about Stephanie before I give my final nitpick?
No, I'm good. Let's get to yours.
Just very quickly.
Wait a minute. I thought you had 4 nitpicks any heat of the night.
See, the one thing is, the one nitpick got resolved with the end segment because they did it better. I actually forgot what my third one was, like I said. So then it just came down to 2 because I wasn't going to try and bother to remember it. Maybe I'll remember it when we're talking about the show. But, yeah, my final nitpick, the whole Punk chants randomly during Rollins' promo, really, crowd? Really?
Well, I can't. Yeah, I know.
No, I
can't. But like, to me though, like when we do nitpicks and heats of the night, that's on like the writing team and the performers on the show, not on the crowd.
I mean, I guess it just really ticked me off. I'm not gonna lie, because Rollins was.
I appreciate the way that Rollins just didn't acknowledge it and just moved on with his promo, and it died down.
Yeah, I think I was just so frustrated because I'm like, okay, they're trying to give us something good, and this is the point that you crap on it.
And
like,
to be fair, this can also probably be chalked up to The Rock.
Well, yeah, that too. And you know what? I think I did kind of remember my other nitpicks. So you know what? I'll disregard the crowd. I mean, I hated the crowd, and I'm not going to apologize for hating the crowd tonight. But you're right. Nitpicks are a more professional space. Again, just a more general booking. Heat of the night. Like, I'll give you a perfect example of what really like annoyed me tonight. You have Enzo and Cass right backstage, and Enzo, God, I don't know what happened, but he's been getting on my nerves more and more lately, and he's just going on.
I'll tell you what happened. Raw writers, baby.
Raw writers happen, and you've got Cass like trying to interject, and Cass, I mean, say what you will about his diction and all that stuff, and it's all valid, but I at least appreciate him saying, Enzo, these guys have won tag team titles all over the world. We haven't even won tag titles in NXT. I thought that was great. I'm like, you know what, Cass? Kudos to you. That's building up your opposition. This way, if by some miracle you would win at Fastlane, which, I mean, I'm not thinking so right now, but we'll tune in Friday for our Fastlane preview and predictions to get the full scoop on where we're at. You know, I'm like, that's really cool that you're building up your opposition. And then I get that it's a singles match so that you can make the excuse, oh, well, it wasn't a tag match. But again, these guys get bitched out. Cass beats Gallows. And whether it's tag team, because they just did the Roman Reigns shit recently, remember? I mean, that's very recent, so it's not like we're going to forget. And then this stuff, like, can these guys get anything? Because here's the thing. You can invoke what they did in Japan, but you and I have said before, what have you done for me lately? What have you done here? Even their tag title win was part of a convoluted storyline of, oh, Sheamus took out the refs. So what's the answer? 2 refs. Like, these guys just can't get anything straight up. And maybe somebody would say, well, they shouldn't because they're heels. But I say, fuck that. It's one thing to be heels. It's another thing to be a really credible tag team, which these guys used to be. And I'd like to see more of that. It's just the booking. And again, this is another big example in the tag team division with your own champions is just so off. Because even if you wanted to give Cass the win, fine. I can understand that. But why not a post-match beatdown for them to get their heat back? And I'm talking a real beatdown, not where they get punked out by Roman Reigns. It's like these guys, to me, are a joke. And that's something else that really bothered me on this Raw tonight. So, yeah, I think that was the nitpick that I forgot and then I remembered because I won't count this crowd, but I certainly will count the poor fucking booking of the club. It's just pitiful to me.
Well, it's bad. The whole Enzo and Cass situation has done nothing but gone downhill since they got called up from NXT.
Yeah, and it's so sad too because that
So
was
what
another.
exactly, what specifically would you say this heat of the night is?
Oh well, this nitpick again. It's just the booking of the club again on the Go Home show. Like
So
it'd be nice.
specifically, this is a complaint about the club then.
Yeah, because I actually liked what Enzo and Cass did for the most part, particularly Cass and his promo to Enzo backstage. Like, these guys, they're decorated, they've won titles all over the world, and he did say to Enzo, we haven't won tag titles yet, not in NXT and not here. I thought that was a great dichotomy that
Oh my
immediately
God.
crumbles, right,
Yeah.
with Raw booking.
Yeah.
I got to give credit to the realist guys. Again, Cass, I thought it was a solid promo, but it means nothing if reality doesn't correspond to it. And reality, given these guys, really ever since they stepped foot, it's that, yeah, you may have been hot shit in Japan. You're not even a warm fart here. And that's really fucking sad. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, too, like, you know how there are some Raw writers, like, specifically the one that comes to mind is Brian James, aka the Road Dogg, who will actually like talk to and answer fans on social media, right?
Yeah, don't even get me started on that either.
I guarantee you that if anybody complains about the way the club has been treated to those people online, their response will be, "Are you kidding me? They're tag team champions."
Exactly.
Oh my God! I think I just channeled my inner Yajirobe for some reason.
God, yeah. I mean, and dude, you're not even wrong. Like, that would be their response because I've seen those conversations, and it's never anything substantive. It's always, oh no, you're wrong. We're always right. Yeah, that really is
like,
up to me.
They basically set themselves up so that their answers end up being contradictory, but they'll never admit to it being contradictory. Like, for example, I remember a while back people were complaining that Kalisto was always on the pre-show even though he was U.S. champion. This was last year during the road to WrestleMania. And Brian James responded on Twitter with, well, yeah, he's on the pre-show because more people watch that than the pay-per-view. Well, okay, then why don't you put the main event on the pre-show if that's the match you want most people to see?
Yeah, exactly. Immediate contradiction in that logic there. I mean, Jesus. I get annoyed.
The obvious answer to that question would be because the main event is supposed to sell the pay-per-view. Well, if that's the case, then why isn't your United States champion on the pay-per-view defending his title? And basically, if you work hard enough, they'll either block you or be forced to admit that they don't think a certain person is a draw. And really, for most of these cases, they'll just block you instead of admitting that ever.
Oh, yeah, and that's the thing.
Like, if you back one of these people into a corner where they're forced to admit, like, oh, well, yeah, but that guy's not a draw, they're just going to block you. Like, they're not going to actually ever say that because, like, that's somebody that works for them, you know?
Exactly. Oh, they'll rush to that block button. And a lot of people, even at the, like, if you just say, oh, this sucks or that sucks, like, even that, just like, oh, well, block. Like, I know we've been talking.
I can understand that because that is, like, it's just mindless criticism. It's not constructive. But if somebody's having an intelligent conversation with you and all you need to say is, we don't think that guy's a draw, but you're such a coward that you're unwilling to admit that in public, then yeah, I don't approve of that block. Not that it matters.
Right, exactly. So that's all I really want to say about the club. But did you have any other heats of the night or whatnot? Anything else you want to get off your chest?
I do actually, one. But really, it's an overlying theme of Raw lately, and specifically something that really bothered me tonight.
Okay.
And it's the overprotection of three specific people, believe it or not.
Three people? Okay.
Three people, and they all have a little something in common, and they're all at kind of different parts of their careers.
Okay.
First person is Goldberg.
Okay.
And that's just shit that's been going on for 2 decades now, so I shouldn't even bother complaining about it, but it still annoys me when, like, you have Kevin Owens coming out there and cutting a super great, like, legit promo, and then Goldberg just does, like, the goofy fingers and acts like he doesn't care and just no-sells it.
Yeah.
Big Cass is another one where it seems like he never, ever loses, and he lost a lot in NXT, even in singles, and I think that added to his character.
Definitely.
And then, of course, the icing on top is Roman Reigns.
You know,
dude, I don't know if you realize this or not. I think this is hilarious, but back when he was in the Shield, his spear taunt was "Hooah!" Right?
Right.
Well, since fans started turning on him and he stopped being a good guy in the eyes of the fans, but WWE still wants him to come off as the good guy, suddenly now his taunt is "Hooah!"
Right.
Do you know why?
Why?
Because it sounds like the crowd is doing that chant with him when they yell "Boo!"
Right. Oh my God.
Dude, I wish I was joking, but I noticed that tonight. Like, they literally just did that little tweak to one of his catchphrases so that it doesn't sound like the crowd is booing him as badly.
Jesus. You know, for the because you said Goldberg, Roman Reigns, and Cass.
Yeah.
It's so funny to me because starting off with Cass, one of his biggest quote-unquote rivals, at least as it came to singles, was Aiden English, of all people.
Yeah.
I don't think
and
Cass
Aiden English got a lot of wins over him.
He did. I don't think Cass ever beat Aiden English one-on-one. Goldberg, you know, and see this with Goldberg and Roman Reigns, and that's why I wanted to save those two for last to knock out Cass immediately. Again, we've been using this phrase a lot in like the TWitWoW language, especially when it comes to Raw these last couple of months.
Remember August when Roman jobbed clean to Finn Balor? God, I miss those days.
Yeah, I miss them too. And when it comes to Goldberg and Roman Reigns, as I was saying, like one phrase you and I have really been using with Raw a lot are missed opportunities. With Goldberg, you have the chance to tell, in my opinion, and this may be where the fantasy booking gets a little wild, but a really fascinating story about like this guy that was a dynamo, a legend, a powerhouse, but nobody beats time, right? And he's getting older and he's thinking, can I get that one last run for my son and everything? Like that to me is a compelling story, especially when you have a heel as great as Kevin Owens. Because I watched that promo last week, the delivery, the suit, the atmosphere, everything. And him even saying the line like, oh, Goldberg, all I have to do is outlast you. If you would take that and you would complement it with the story of can Goldberg get that last run at his age, at everything, you know, he is at this stage of his career, I'd be in. I may still hate the result because I want Kevin Owens to be a world champion going into a Mania, but I could at least accept it with a narrative that's that enriching. And then with Roman Reigns, and see, this is why I originally didn't make it a nitpick because I really did enjoy the ending segment, but I found the whole notion of a contract signing laughable for two reasons. One, this was your go-home show. If you do not have this match finalized within 6 days, you have a serious fucking problem. So logically, I just found holes in that. But even more on the nose, it would be interesting, right? With Roman Reigns struggling against Braun Strowman, for him, even if he doesn't back out, because we know with them trying to maintain him as a babyface, he's never going to do that. But at least to acknowledge, you know, of all the people I've faced, whether on my own or in the Shield, I have never met a force like Braun Strowman. And even I'm really beginning to doubt myself this time. Like, that would humanize him. And I'd love a promo like that. But no, it's just, no, it's one versus all. Believe that. No, I don't believe it. You know, it's just with Goldberg and Roman Reigns, these really protected guys, to your point, I find such potential for fascinating narratives, and yet they're never dug into. Ever. And God, is it maddening so much. But what were you going to say? Please continue.
No, I mean, you pretty much landed it, dude. Really, the idea that, like, Roman Reigns, first of all, I loved that Braun Strowman recovered from the spear through the barricade as quickly as he did. That was great. That,
yes!
Because that's how you build a monster. But Roman Reigns isn't supposed to be the monster. He's supposed to be the hero.
Right.
And Roman did the exact same thing.
Yeah, like, that's the one thing, too. For as much as I love the ending segment, I would have loved so much more if Roman, if it didn't end with him signing and being like, yeah, I'm a badass. And if it had to, I would have loved for Strowman to come back down there and do the running power slam.
The freaking power slam and then close the show with him with his foot on Roman's chest.
Exactly. Exactly. Because again, I love the ending segment, and I know it may seem like a nitpick, but yeah, I do agree with you. Visuals in a segment like that matter. The visual of Reigns spearing Strowman, great. The visual of Strowman recovering and screaming, is that all you've got? I almost jizz, dude. I'm like, fucking yes. Yes. So good. And then the visual of the rope bursting because he just threw Reigns so hard on the turnbuckle. Oh,
But
great
then
stuff.
it has to remind us all, like, yeah, Roman Reigns wears a protective Kevlar vest at all times. So not
Exactly.
a lot of good that does. I love that Michael Cole was like, that could have destroyed Roman's sternum. Dude, those things are built to withstand gunshots. What are you talking about?
And I mean, granted, they could take liberties with that the same way they used to say, oh, well, these chamber pods, they're plexiglass, they're bulletproof, and yet Goldberg can spear Chris Jericho through one. So, I mean, fine.
I mean, the
But,
thing is, like, there's definitely plexiglass that you can shoot with a gun and the bullet won't penetrate it all the way, but still, like, you can still compromise it with enough weight. Like,
right.
it's different things, but still, like, really, the turnbuckle spot was shocking at first until you realize, like, oh, then Roman recovered immediately.
And see, that's the thing, Ashton, because, like, I gotta say, with that segment, because I usually forget, and I even told you this in conversation, I don't actively think about that Roman wears a Kevlar vest. I don't know why. It's just the way I approach it.
Dude,
But Reigns constantly reminds me of that with his actions, because when you're able to get your hand up and sign your name, that's going to do more to me than logically, oh, wait, he's wearing a Kevlar vest. Because I don't think like that, at least when it comes to these segments for whatever reason. But when I see Reigns getting a hand up like, Roman Reigns is time, and signs his name, I'm like, oh, god damn it, a lot of good that did. So yeah, I just feel like if they laid him out, I wouldn't have even thought, well, Kevlar vest. It's just the idea that he is able to do that shit after the fact. Like, just lay him the fuck out, WWE.
yeah. Roman, if you could just, take this Adderall and then pee in this cup, that'd be great.
I don't know, man.
Another wellness policy violation might be the best thing to ever happen to that dude's career.
It might very well be, And I will give WWE credit for this, though. When it came to Strowman, for me personally, once again, the best part of the show this week. That guy is
I'll
really,
say, definitely.
yeah.
I'm not even going to bother with the one of hedging my bets thing. Yeah, you're right. Strowman was the best part about this Raw.
He's really putting it together,
the only
man.
competition he had was Samoa Joe and Seth Rollins and that whole thing.
Yeah, and that was good. That was good. And you know what I think really sealed it for Strowman? Not only did he have a great beatdown, I loved how he burned Foley. Like, you brought the papers, you brought the table. You're useless. Get out. Like,
get out of my ring.
Strowman has such an adorable quality when he growls at people, and yet it's still so
good. That, like, he's a professional too, because he started talking at his mic, and then he realized that it wasn't working, and he patted the mic, and then he continued with his promo. What a pro, man.
Dude, I fucking love Strowman. I told you how I listened to that interview he did with Stone Cold, and he seems like the most likable guy and so eager to learn and soak things up. And I feel like for the last few months, because I've been saying it every Raw TWitWoW I get, any segment that Braun Strowman is on, I'm there. Like, it has my full attention. Tonight had my full attention.
To be fair, his name is Adam. When was the last time you met an Adam that wasn't likable?
Hey, that is true. That is true. But yeah, Braun is fucking great. And you know what, though? I will say, too, and I know, again, we have to keep our nitpicks and our criticisms and our complaints, like, confined to this Raw until Fastlane happens. But if the Undertaker interference does happen, which I'm fully expecting it to at Fastlane, that's going to kind of tick me off, too, because I feel like they've booked Braun Strowell. Like, I could believe him beating Roman Reigns on his own.
Oh, for sure. But it would take like 3 running power slams.
You know what, though? Even though you're right, like, you're not wrong, I still could believe in Strowman delivering all 3 of those power slams and picking up the win. Like, they really have done right by him, and that is something, if I'm going to be even-handed with my criticism.
Strowman hits 2, and then after the third, like, he hits 1, goes for the pin, kick out, hits a second one, goes for the pin, kick out, and then after the third one, he just pulls a Cena and doesn't even try for the pin and just immediately hits a 4th and a 5th one to make sure the job's done.
And
Why? Because 3 ain't enough, man. I need 5.
Exactly. And on the 5th one, he has the straps down, so you know that he's serious.
The
Yeah,
Kurt Angle.
like if I'm going to be even-handed in my criticism, when things are good, I have to say they're really good. And I feel like for the most part, they have done right by Braun Strowman. And honestly, because I don't know if it was the last AV Club review I read, but I read somewhere that they feel like Fastlane has been such a poorly booked show. Like the matches really haven't been hyped all that well. And it may have even been a column I read. I'm not sure. I feel like this has been the best built match on the program, personally. Maybe second only to Goldberg Owens. And I'd credit that more with Owens rather than Goldberg, personally.
I was going to say, like, is Goldberg Owens even really that well built? It seems to me like it's kind of a one-man show there.
And I agree. So, yeah, even like disqualifying that, I think this has been the best built match on the show, mainly because if you're still going to try the seemingly impossible and get Roman Reigns as a babyface, you've at least done right by your obstacle in Braun Strowman by having him just own Reigns at every turn, which is fucking refreshing. Because, dude, honestly, like, I thought the segment was going to end with the spear through the barricade, and I was going to hem and haw and be like, you know what? I don't like it, but I understand it. It's the go-home show. You at least have to give the appearance that the babyface has a fighting chance. But when Strowman got back up, you know what else went up? My Swanson, because I'm like, oh my God, they're doing this. They're really going to make Strowman that much of a beast. And when he yelled, is that all you got? I'm like, that's how you fucking do it. That's how you fucking make a monster. Like, I believe Strowman as a monster now, and I've been saying for the last few months, like, he is my favorite big man right now, and I think he's going to be that big man that WWE can rely on for the next, 10 plus years, however many years he's going to go in this slot.
You're going to be so angry in, 2 years when he comes out dressed up as the New Year's baby.
I hope you're wrong. You never really are. And that's a cause for great sadness. But, we have nothing if not our dreams. So I hope that Strowman can be drafted to SmackDown before he gets ruined.
To me, he's way too charismatic and expressive for not to try for them not to try him as that bouncy, happy, people-pleasing giant baby face like they used the Big Show as for so long.
Oh, God. But, you know what? We can talk more about Strowman later. Are there any other grievances you wanted to air about this show?
No. I feel like, dude, we've been going for over a half hour, and we haven't said a single thing positive about this show. Let's please get to the review.
All right. Let us get right into our Monday Night Raw review, and we start with Bill Goldberg. I mean, there is a positive. I do think it was smart to start the show with Goldberg.
Why would you start the show with him if this is the go-home show?
Dude, Raw didn't even seem to have any awareness that this was the go-home show, okay? So, I don't know what to tell you.
This should have closed Raw, and it should have been booked a little bit differently to fit an end segment rather than an opening segment, but I still think that Goldberg is the biggest draw you have. You should have opened the night saying, hey guys, Goldberg's going to be here later, stay tuned, and then you build to that at the end of the night. You mention it 2 or 3 times throughout the night just to keep it fresh in people's minds, once at the beginning of the show, once at the 1 hour mark, once at the 2 hour mark, and then once right before you go to commercial before Goldberg shows up. And then Goldberg shows up, and then people realize they stayed for a reason because he's the biggest draw on this show.
Right. I can understand that logic, absolutely. But he does come out at the start of the show, and I will give credit for this. If you want to be more positive, he at least kept the promo succinct. He even says, Kevin Owens, he talks and talks and talks and talks. I'm not that way. And he pretty much says, to show my family and to show all of you, I'm going to become Universal Champion. I'm going to prove to Kevin Owens that I can win the championship. I'm going to take it to WrestleMania to face Brock Lesnar. And he's pretty much talking about how he is going to be Universal Champion. Then you have Kevin Owens come out, and you have Kevin Owens cut an expert level promo about all the things he's done with the Universal title that people didn't expect him to. He beat Seth Rollins. He beat Dean Ambrose, beat AJ Styles. Oh, he also mentions how he beat John Cena on night 1. And see, this is another thing that, I can't even stay positive for too long because Goldberg pissed me off here. Because Goldberg, with every...
This was part of my most recent Heat of the Night. Goldberg no-sold Owens promo.
Yeah, completely. He was clapping, and he had this look on his face that was a combination of who And
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
it really
Goldberg. I
was.
really
Like
don't
he
care.
might as well have said, "You named a lot of people that are here every day, but you know who I am, right?"
That's really what his expression amounted to. Like, yeah, that's great. And all, Kevin, I'm Goldberg, bitch. Like, you got shit. And that was really deflating because with anybody else, you could really see Kevin as the legitimate obstacle. Here, Kevin fucking Owens, after two great promos in back-to-back weeks, is still, in all reality, the underdog to the fucking 50-year-old Goldberg, because he is 50, right? Or close to it. Like, goddamn, man, this isn't how it's supposed to work. Oh,
I think he's either 49 or 50. Yeah.
it doesn't matter. He's still old either way. You're still old and in the way, Goldberg.
Yeah, he's 50. He turned 50 in December, so he's going to be 50 for pretty much the rest of his WWE career because he's definitely not going to last more than a year in this company.
No, certainly not. I mean, Kevin Owens straight up called Chris Jericho worthless. He said, Jericho means nothing, which I laugh my ass off because of how accurate it is. How come my name's on this? Shut up. So yeah, great promo by Owens. Really wish Goldberg would have sold it more. I honestly wish they would have done a whole different story altogether with Goldberg as it relates to the younger, more versatile Kevin Owens. He's not Brock Lesnar where all he can do is German suplexes. He's actually a very well-rounded performer. But now screw that. It's fucking Goldberg in 2017. Do you have anything you want to add?
WWE opened themselves up to an opportunity here to keep Kevin Owens at least relatively strong, even though he's going to be losing to a 50-year-old man on Sunday. And I guarantee you they're still not going to take this opportunity.
Right. What is that opportunity now?
Jericho costing Owens the title.
See, and I've been thinking about that, dude. I've been visualizing. Yeah,
That's the best option in my opinion because that keeps Owens strong. It gives Owens a natural Jericho feud. He can go after the U.S. title. You get the title on Goldberg so he can have his match with Brock in the main event of Mania. And yet, you're still preserving credibility. But even though that is definitely the best option, I got to tell you, I feel like they're not even going to use it. I feel like they're just going to straight up bury Owens and say, you know what, we don't care. Owens is not somebody that I think that they are going to even attempt to make look like he can stand up to the mighty Goldberg, which is ridiculous at face value. But yeah, that's just what I think is going to happen.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I look at this whole dynamic, and it is kind of fascinating in a morbid way because you figure you could have Jericho come out, which I still think might happen. I actually am a bit more optimistic on that front. I could see a spot where maybe Goldberg gets a spear. Kevin Owens real quick rolls out of the ring because again he's just trying to outlast Goldberg, and then he's walking up the ramp. He's like, to hell with this, give me my title, because walk Owens walk. And then Jericho comes out, huge pop. Hopefully, if the crowd's good, grabs Owens. Owens doesn't even know what's going on. He throws Owens back into the ring. Second spear, jackhammer, title win. That to me would be ideal. I really don't know what they're going to do with this. And then the fate of the Universal title as a whole, because ultimately I do think it's going to find its way to Brock Lesnar. And then where you go from there is anybody's fucking guess. But it's just a shame that Owens is just kind of a middleman for this whole thing and nowhere near close to a main attraction.
You know what the really funny thing about the whole Jericho thing is? Even if they do use him to help kind of preserve Owens' credibility, that would make me happy because Owens' credibility would be nice to be able to preserve. But it would still make no sense because Jericho historically has always hated Goldberg.
Yeah, exactly.
Even going back to when Goldberg just showed back up in WWE for Survivor Series, Jericho was tweeting about Greenberg.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, man, I really don't know how they're going to handle this. I actually have quite a bit to say about, the implications of Goldberg Owens, but I'm going to save that for preview predictions on Friday for Fastlane. Do you have anything else you want to say about this segment before we move on?
I did want to say, I believe I've been setting the over-under line for the Goldberg-Owens match at what was it, 37 and a half seconds or something like that? And a majority of you took the under. There's no way that's going to go less than that.
Right. We'll see. Well, because I really don't even know. with
I
Raw
forget if it
anymore.
was 27.5 seconds, 37.5 seconds, or 87.5 seconds, but it was one of those. And regardless of which one of those it was, I still would take the over because I think Owens is going to try and drag it out as much as possible. And that was also exactly what my logic was the first time I brought it up. So thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we can move on.
All right, so we get the New Day.
Yeah, this was painful.
Oh my! Oh yes, yes, that was my other. Yeah, I told you, like, I had a shit ton of nitpicks. I knew it was gonna come back to me. So yeah, not just the booking of the clubs. I guess you could say 5 nitpicks. Like, I was pissed at a lot tonight. I mean, New Day, are your arms feeling all right? Because I mean, you really had to crowbar in those Oscar references, didn't you? You guys and commentary. I feel like they did something later. Or no, I think it was Charlotte with the Academy Award for Bayley. That whole pot shot. I mean, guys, people don't tune into Raw thinking, man, I hope they mention that flub at the Oscars. They tune in to see wrestling. They tune in to see their favorite performers. They don't care for your pop culture connections. Jesus Christ.
Can somebody
Everything.
inform me what exactly happened at the Oscars that New Day parodied? Because I didn't catch it.
Okay, so this guy, I think his name's like Warren Beatty or something. It was Best Picture, and you could clearly see the guy was really pissing me off watching the video. Like, he was struggling to read it or whatever, and then he hands it off to his co-host, whose name I don't know, and she said La La Land. I don't know why, when it was written clear as day that Moonlight won, but yeah, it was pretty much Steve Harvey all over again, except the Oscars this time. And
you know what?
yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. I didn't even see it, but I guarantee you that was planned because of how much publicity the Steve Harvey thing got.
Right.
Guarantee you that was planned. That was like, I've been a wrestling fan for way too long to not know when I'm being worked, and that was a work.
Which, I mean, if you're right, still a fucking dick move to have all those people come on stage and then just be like, oh, sorry.
No, they were, I guarantee you they were informed about it beforehand. And the whole thing was just planned out ahead of time. Like, you only had to tell, like, maybe, 10, 15 people. I think they can manage that.
Right. Yeah, so that's what the New Day was doing. And you know what? Like, they're so much better when they don't do this kind of shoehorn material. Like, with the whole ice cream machine in Lana last week. And Big E just having that side comment, oh, you know she's Russian, right? Like, that's the kind of humor to me with the New Day that works. This was so painfully telegraphed.
I don't know if you knew this or not, but the video containing Big E's "You know she's Russian, right?" line on the WWE YouTube channel was edited out.
Wow.
The "You know she's Russian" line was changed to guys, chill.
Wow. Whatever. I'm not even God.
Because McMahon, Trump, Russia, etc., conspiracy theory.
He hired my wife, damn it, therefore she's immune, and he's immune. Oh my God, kill me. Okay, so they do the promo. Does anybody even care? I don't care.
They do the promo. The Shining Stars come out. They tell them that they don't have a match. And by the way, can I also just mention the New Day literally said to close their promo that they had to take care of business with the Shining Stars, and then the Shining Stars came out, which makes sense. But then the New Day tells the Shining Stars that they don't have a match with them. Then, like, okay, so then why did you mention that you had to fight them during your promo?
I mean, again, I guess it was just their layup for the whole Oscar joke of, oh, we really think this is happening, but we just got notified last word, it's not. So, sorry. And the funny thing is, I was actually looking more forward to a Shining Stars versus New Day matchup more than what we actually got, which was handsome Rusev, apparently, and hard-body Jinder Mahal. And yes, folks, I had to really train my gag reflex to get that out properly. You know, dude, and I'm so angry because everybody knows how big of a fan I am of Rusev, and I was just begging because there was a bit of tension at the end of this, right? Because Rusev,
I think another glorious commenting chat from Javaris Carter. This segment really did kill the crowd, didn't it?
Oh, they weren't into this at all.
Dude, as soon as Goldberg's music hit to begin the show, they were into it. Like, they were doing the chants, they were into it. They were reacting to everything Goldberg and Owens were saying. And then the New Day came out, and they said, we're going to fight the Shining Stars now. And then the Shining Stars came out and they said, oh, no, never mind. Your match isn't with us. It's with the Big Show later. And that was a blow because it was like, oh, really? We got to see the Big Show again 2 weeks in a row? And really, we got to see Big Show in a handicap match? And, like, really, we're going to not have the match that you guys just said we were going to have? And then it's freaking Rusev and Mahal.
Yeah. And
that's like blow times 4 to the gut, killing your momentum if you were excited about this show after the Owens Goldberg segment.
And they did it in record time because I feel like the whole New Day thing started at like what 8:18 or 8:15, like somewhere around there. And
believe it or not, I actually wouldn't say that was like 25 after 8.
Right. So yeah, you get this match. New Day wins because Rusev's preoccupied with Kofi, and Jinder gets rolled up by Woods, which, I mean, fine, good finish. And the only thing that gives me any hope is those guys were having disagreements in the ring. I wanted Rusev so badly, dude, to beat the shit out of Mahal. Why is he in this tag team? Because I get why in the beginning, right? Because of the whole feud with Enzo and Cass. And Jinder Mahal was in sensitivity training or whatever with Enzo. Enzo insulted him, so the enemy just
do you really need to know why they're in a tag team together, John?
Well, I mean, I just kind of explained. I understood why they came together originally because of Enzo and Cass.
Do you want to know why they're still in a tag team, though?
Why?
Because foreigners.
Oh, my. These tumors are just sprouting up in my brain like nobody's business. I'm really hoping
the Russian guy who was born in Bulgaria and the Indian guy who was born in Canada are the best tag team.
And yet they don't even do anything. Please, I know there's another draft coming up. Please draft Rusev to SmackDown.
Oh my God, yes, save his career.
Begging. I am, because look, I understand.
You know what though? I'm gonna say this. Draft Rusev to SmackDown as long as he and Lana are a package deal, because I do not want Lana getting a babyface singles push on Raw, and if they are on separate shows, that's what would happen.
I think they would be a package deal, hopefully.
I sure hope so.
Because my thing is, I get all the standard responses. Oh, Cesaro and this one and that one, and I agree. It's not that they're wrong. I mean, I push for it just as much as anybody else. But I feel like people really don't know how great Rusev can be, and I've seen those glimpses, and I want that to be a regular fucking thing. And it's not going to be a regular fucking thing when he's teaming with somebody that calls himself Hard Body Mahal. I hate everything about this so much. But yeah, they lose. Again, Rusev, this menacing presence who actually has charisma, a lot like Braun Strowman. Please, dear God, do not let Rusev be the ghost of Strowman's future. Just nothing.
Rusev, the ghost of Strowman past.
Oh my God. No, I refuse to believe it. I refuse to believe it.
No, I'm telling you, dude, the difference is Rusev, they're not going to turn him face because foreigner. Strowman, they'll totally turn face.
I believe that. I believe Strowman in a few years' time will have a face run. I completely agree with you. That's unavoidable. But to me, I can't believe that this is Rusev's life for the rest of his life. Meaningless fucking tag matches with fucking people.
I mean, you already said you think Strowman's going to turn face. Do you think that they're going to have him be like a scary face? Because that's not a thing in WWE.
I mean, look, here's what I think the ideal situation would be, and here's what I think would actually happen if they turn Strowman face. And this is not Strowman, this is the writing, and I think you understand that. Ideally, it would be 2002 Kane when he first came back.
Sometimes I feel like we are the only people who have any kind of a voice on YouTube who actually do know how to separate performer from script.
Right. And so ideally, if they were to do Strowman as a face, I would have the writing be, again, similar to 2002 Kane when he first came back. A guy that takes chair shots to the back, doesn't even phase him, beats the shit out of bad people, and it just maintains that monstrous aura. What I think reality will have is really what you said earlier. Just him wearing the fucking diaper, like the Big Show on New Year's, or doing these fucking comedy spots that I know Strowman charismatically can pull off, but the writing won't be doing him any kind of favors or any kind of justice. And that angers me to no fucking end. Rusev, I'd still like to see him have a main event heel run, preferably on SmackDown, because they know how to maximize their fucking resources. When Raw's like, hey, Rusev, we know you're a former 2-time United States champion and even had an undefeated streak for a while, but you're nothing now, so go and have this tag match. As if
thanks John Cena at WrestleMania and Roman Reigns later down the line.
But see, this is the biggest difference to me between Raw and SmackDown, among many. I'm not saying it's the only singular difference, but one of the biggest among many. It's I think with Raw, if they have the perception that you're damaged goods, even in a kayfabe sense, like, oh, your character just has no credibility, they feel like rehab is impossible. Whereas I feel like SmackDown...
Well, we kind of made this point during our SmackDown Live review last week. Like Triple H pointed out, like the European promotions, how some of them are users and some of them are creators. Well, Raw is a user. Raw takes credibility and uses it as much as they possibly can until they can't use it anymore. SmackDown creates credibility.
Yeah, that's just it. I think they would see such possibility in Rusev because he's such a blank canvas after everything they've put him through. And that's why I'm hoping for the draft again this year, that you can save a lot of these talents. It's fucking maddening. But yeah, New Day wins. Ice Cream angle continues. Let's just move on, because you know what? Now I really just want to get through this Raw, because the more we talk about it, the more I suffer.
Yeah. I mean, up next, we had some kind of a thing backstage with Enzo and Cass that was really annoying, to the point that I didn't even bother transcribing it because it annoyed me that much.
Cass even looked like, I want to smack this bitch. Like, I just want to punch him with all the force I can get in my hand. Here was something that was interesting, though. Cesaro and Sheamus were backstage, and then Samoa Joe confronts Cesaro. This was another one of the bright spots of the show, albeit they were very few and, like, far between. But I thought this interaction between Cesaro and Joe was great. What did you think of it?
Yeah. I mean, to me, I was really looking forward to the match, and then the match ended up being pretty crappy by my standards.
Right.
And we'll talk more about why that was the case later. I have some, I probably could have fit this into my nitpick section, but we're already past that, so I'll talk about it when we get to the match. But yes, this interaction was fine. I like that they actually acknowledge that Cesaro and Samoa Joe have a past together, that they've actually worked together before WWE. But yeah, this was fine. But it was like 20 seconds.
Yeah, it was 20 seconds. And you know what, though? Like, I feel like in those 20 seconds, they managed to garner more interest from me than most of their long-form programs, like Owens and Goldberg, for instance, or, what have you. Like, I really enjoyed that interaction, and I think my heart wept because I'm like, oh man, Cesaro, this is the stuff you could be doing if you were more actively singles, and why are Sheamus and Cesaro still together? I don't understand anything anymore. So yeah, that interaction happened. Okay, what happened next? Okay, we had Tozawa versus Noam Dar. Actually, no, we didn't. No, we didn't. Yeah, we had Stephanie. We had Stephanie down-dressing Mick.
And it was this segment that I was able to coin a new phrase on Twitter. And I know some people in chat follow me on Twitter, so they'll know what I'm talking about. McMasturbation.
I was even getting ready to make a hand job joke. A man after my own heart. Because I was going to say, it's incredible to me.
This is literally all this is. It's just a McMahon jerking themselves off. So McMasturbation.
Not just jerking themselves off, but getting the family in on it too, because she even has the audacity, Triple H. While my husband gets stronger, you just get weaker. Shut the fuck up. Like, and I know what Road Dogg would say, because we don't know this guy. Oh, what? She's getting heat. Shut your fucking old ass up. I didn't even ask you. If I'm retarded enough to need your opinion, I will consult it. Understand? But it's only good heat if it goes fucking somewhere. This show, honestly, I'd rather deal with the sleep deprivation I was dealing with last week, and that was hell. I'd rather deal with that all over again than deal with this shit, save for the ending segment with Strowman and a few other things in here. But I mean, this show was bleak. This show got me so fucking mad. And this, I think, was really the start, dude. This, I think, was really the start. Because, yeah, the New Day stuff was meh.
I was going to say, like, the New Day was, like, the start for me, and that was less than a sixth of the way into the show.
Yeah, I just hated that they crowbarred the Oscars in there, because I'm like, how many, did you tear your rotator cuff on that one? I mean, is Cliff going to have to give you shoulder advice, because you might have pulled something? But I mean, this what was, again, I'm trying to be forgiving and understanding and saying, well, we know Mick's going to go off eventually for medical reasons, but you're telling me this is the only avenue you could think to take. Just more Stephanie in our faces, more of her petty antagonisms that lead to nowhere. You really couldn't think of another way to achieve the same end. And that's where I get angry and I have to be less forgiving. Like, I'm trying to be understanding. But what was the point of this? She emasculated him again. And I even felt like they were going to, like, bury the hatchet and have their fucking passive-aggressive relationship again, which still would have annoyed me, but not nearly as much as this.
Honestly, when Stephanie first started talking, I thought she was going to be a face again.
Yeah, me too. And she's like, psych, I still hate you, Mick. I still loathe you. And I loathe everything, so everything works.
Okay, so once we get through our McMasturbation segment, we can move on to the second match of the night. That's right, guys. This is only the second match of the night. Tozawa versus Noam Dar.
And you know what? It wasn't even bad. I can't say anything bad about it. Tozawa's still over.
I can't complain about the match. I absolutely love Noam Dar's theme song, by the way. I never realized that before, but yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I agree. I do like the theme. I even like Noam Dar to an extent as a performer. I can commend, I guess, them trying to give him motivations with the whole Alicia Fox. I just wish, that it was more than just a one-dimensional, oh, she's hot, I want her kind of thing. But I digress.
She's not hot, John. She's beautiful.
Oh, please don't. I've suffered enough tonight. But yeah. It was a quick match. It was to promote a match on the kickoff show. It's going to be Swan and Tozawa versus Kendrick and Dar. Would have been nice to get Swan on this show, but, fuck him, right? He's irrelevant. So, yeah, Tozawa wins with a snap German. Then Kendrick comes out, and actually prior to all this, he says, I hope you're learning your lessons, and he kind of recaps, like, everything he's done. Apparently on 205 Live, Kendrick tied up Tozawa's foot, like, under the ring apron, and he got a count-out victory. So I'm still loving the Kendrick character, by the way, and I'm loving this whole flair of the angle, like, oh, I'm forcibly being his mentor. I think that's a really cool concept.
That's great. Really, that's a better, more interesting and intriguing and well-developed program than anything going on Raw right now.
I agree. And it continues because he jumps Tozawa after the match and kicks his head into the steel post, and he says, lesson 3, just because you won your match doesn't mean that you shouldn't have eyes in the back of your head. I hope you're learning your lessons. Drops the mic. Great stuff from Kendrick. So, really can't complain about this. This is actually one of the better segments of the night. Do you have anything you want to add?
No, I love Kendrick, and I love that they're using him to get Tozawa over. I just wish that they would show that more on Raw because nobody watches 205 Live.
Yeah, that's true. We go to a backstage segment, Samoa Joe and Mick Foley. Joe
he kind of confronted Foley here, and really all it ended up doing was pissing Foley off so Foley could set up Joe's match with Cesaro for the night, which we kind of already knew was going to happen, but this made it official. Yeah,
nice to get it confirmed. Not really much more you can say than that. Again, though, Foley did just try and tell Joe you're Triple H's puppet, thus furthering that angle. And I'm going to give you the ball at the best time to talk about your favorite.
Why would you do this to me?
Because I've suffered enough tonight, and I want to see you bleed too. So what did you think of this Charlotte promo?
What do you think I thought of it, John?
I thought you loved it. I thought you felt like Charlotte listened to TWitWoW, took diligent notes, worked on her diction.
Dude, this segment was the most active I was all night on Twitter.
You want to read your tweets for us?
Sure. First one, I get physically uncomfortable having to listen to Charlotte speak.
Yeah, I saw that tweet, and I know you just generally do not like Charlotte. The thing is, like,
I thought I was going to get to read my tweets.
Oh, keep going, by all means.
Second tweet, I also love that Charlotte, the super mega please hate me heel, opened the promo with a crowd pandering woo!
Right.
So those are the two that I dropped during the Charlotte. Oh, and by the way, she forgot Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, okay.
She said the quarterback when she was trying to remember the name of Aaron Rodgers.
And she said Brett Favre. And hasn't Brett Favre like not been playing for the last few years? I mean, I know I'm not that knowledgeable.
I think Brett Favre retired in like, I want to say like 2011, 2012.
Jesus Christ, Charlotte. If you can't make the basket, don't go for the shot. But yeah, and see, that's where
to
the
me,
promos...
this tells me that either she is as bad of an actress as I think she is, and she actually forgot that line, or they're starting to give her a little bit more leniency on her promos, and they shouldn't do that.
And that's the thing, dude. Like, at the beginning, I'm like, all right, this promo is serviceable. But I think when she like started again, like the football or like the other references and Bailey deserved an Academy Award, which to me, again, the Oscars just happened. So, I'm like, whatever.
Did Charlotte literally say Academy Award, and is that what the Oscars are?
Well, I mean, I just, to me personally, I saw the parallel. And I feel like, yeah, the Oscars, it's like, and the Academy Award goes to, or is it the Oscar? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The point is, this promo was just meh. Again.
Yeah, yeah. The Academy Awards are the Oscars. So just wanted to clear that up.
Right. And really, it doesn't matter because Charlotte would never win one with her mic work. See, that's one where I feel like I put actual effort, WWE. But yeah, what were you gonna say?
Isn't like the most famous, like, these are the worst movies awards called the Razzies, because that's the only award Charlotte deserves.
yeah, they are called the Razzies. And again, like I didn't even come into this wanting to hate on the promo. I'm like, all right, this is good enough. And I like the whole idea of like, oh, Bailey exposed herself, but I still don't like the just Bailey, for the record. I still don't get that at all.
They're still trying so hard to get that over, and it's never going to get over. I don't know why they insist on it, but it's WWE, and they try really hard to get a lot of things over. Roman.
I love Traverse Carter. Charlotte just sucks at everything.
The thing is, he's only wrong because she's tall, blonde, and the daughter of Ric Flair.
That's true. Nepotism.
Those are three things that she's really good at: is being tall, being blonde, and being the daughter of Ric Flair. Literally nothing she actually has control over.
And then, I started to get a little bit more sadistic as this segment progressed, because then Bailey came out and said, well, Charlotte. Yeah.
Bailey. I mean, this was another one of my tweets. I'm not even that big of a Bailey fan, but her music hitting was such a relief.
It was. And then I feel like the promo, like, it wasn't anywhere near as bad as Charlotte, but I had to laugh because she's like, well, Charlotte, the thing is, when you achieve your dream, you get to make other dreams. And my next one is to go to WrestleMania as Raw Women's Champion. And even me, I had to laugh because I'm like, the nepotism you're going up against, right? And by the way, Naomi's whole story about that same exact fucking thing is so much better. I mean, yeah, the injury was kind of a snag, but even SmackDown, their writing is so good, they used that to their advantage for a heart-wrenching segment last Tuesday. So I feel like Naomi's got the better story there of championship WrestleMania dreams. But yeah, Charlotte even tells her, like, that's in 34 days or whatever. I don't even know. But I think
that sounds about right. Yeah.
But it's like in such a long time that I'm gonna be champion by then. And then Sasha comes out, and like, this is where I got at my most sadistic, because it's not even anything that Sasha said was bad. Just like, oh, Bailey does.
Did you finally notice the random uhs at the end of some of her words?
No, I did not. I guess I have to strain my ear a little harder next time around.
How do you not notice this? Like, one of the first things she said Bailey in a sentence, and it wasn't Bailey, it was Baileya.
So is it like a quasi Triple H syndrome she's got going on, or like what's going on?
It's like she's trying to be like an angsty teen or something.
But I had to laugh about this too.
Mama.
But I had to laugh about this too because here Sasha is putting Bailey over, and all I'm thinking is, oh, Bailey, you poor sap, it's gonna break your heart when Sasha turns on you, isn't it? Like, she's saying all this nice stuff about you.
There was even another line when Sasha was saying, like, something that Bailey was a better something that Charlotte will ever be, and it was, then you will ever be a.
I gotta go back and listen, man, because I did not pick up on any of
See,
that.
they might not even show those lines in an attempt to protect Sasha's credibility as a speaker.
Yeah, but we go from that to Sasha pretty much. Oh, and I love this too because we already have problems with them being like, "Oh, sweetheart, yes, sweetheart, what, sweetheart, and yes, sweetheart," like all that stuff. But then Sasha pretty much comes out and says, "Oh, well, you know what? I've had enough of Charlotte. Your stupid face." Like, we've gone grade school, everybody. It's happened.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the thing too, like there was also a line in here where Charlotte was like talking to Sasha, like, "Oh wow, Charlotte, I'm surprised you're not out of breath from trying to take Bayley's spotlight." First of all, the delivery was garbage, but that's not even what my problem is with. How exactly would trying to take someone's spotlight cause one to be out of breath?
See, I feel like again she had the wrong line because remember with the Flair promo how it's like to me you're dead instead of like you're dead to me. I feel like here it should have just been from carrying Bayley because she could have made that case because you helped Bayley win the Raw Women's Championship, you know, using your crutch, and you could have said like you've been carrying Bayley. That's the only reason she's women's champion.
Though, even if she wanted to make the carrying joke, she could have said, "Oh, Sasha, I'm surprised you're out here. I thought you'd be in the back getting your back looked at since you've been carrying Bayley for these last few weeks."
Right. Just anything other than what she said, more or less.
Why are you out of breath? You must have been trying, you know, from trying to take Bayley's spotlight. Like, it's such a bad line. I can barely even string it together in my head.
Honestly, this whole thing was so bad to me that like it actually made me.
Another relevant tweet, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Charlotte, Bayley, and babyface Sasha Banks, aka 3 of the bottom 10 mic workers in the WWE.
Yeah, I mean, this was so bad. I actually brought out like my JBL voice, and I'm contemplating, and I'm like, "Well, Michael, see, I told you, all women just hate each other. It's a natural fact." And you know, just like this promo was so bad.
I mean, to be fair, that rule kind of applies to SmackDown as well. Although, like maybe like Becky Lynch and Naomi still like each other, but that's about it.
Glow fire, baby. Glow fire. I still believe.
And you know what? There's one other exception on SmackDown. Nikki and Alexa like each other.
Yeah. Congratulations.
But really, I mean, when one of them is champion, how long is it going to be before Nikki turns on her?
Yeah, but see, the thing is, though, like, at least with that, I'm hoping SmackDown won't make it feel so good. But even, like, Sasha buttering up to Bayley, like, I know they're trying to give this presentation, oh, they're so close so that the betrayal has more sting. And there are some things they've done that, like, really make me believe that because they'll share, like, intimate photos, and we know Sasha and Bayley tweeted each other pretty regularly, and, like, that's all good. But then when you try and do it, like, on the microphone in front of the crowd, it's really starting to feel a little forced. Like, Sasha saying that shit about Bayley, it's like, I know Sasha the person believes it because she adores Bayley, but Sasha the character, I'm not buying it. You know, like, it just came off as so false to me. And, yeah,
but
it's
John,
like...
you gotta remember, Sasha the character is a good guy now, so she can say all that stuff and mean it, even though she's only gonna mean it until she turns heel.
You know what? The only thing more believable in Coquina Clutch, air quotes, as I'm now taking to calling them, than that is Hulk Hogan at his own trial saying, oh, Hulk Hogan, the character, has a bigger penis than Terry Bollea, which he actually said, by the way. He did say something to that effect.
Of course. It makes all the sense in the world.
So, yeah, I mean, clearly, you know,
come on. We've all seen the Hulk Hogan sex tape. He's got like 5.5 inches tops. Hulk Hogan's an 8-incher minimum.
Exactly, but before this goes in any more disturbing territory, I mean, I want James to give this video a like for other reasons. We go to our tag match because Sasha reminds us, oh, don't we have a tag match tonight? Indeed we do. And
oh my god. Dude, do you remember Dallas Cowboy fan 777 Steven?
Yes.
Do you remember how he used to say all the time that all the WWE cares about is that you can talk and that you have talking skills, and that's how you get pushed in the WWE?
Mm-hmm.
What the hell happened to that?
I don't know. I
like, all 3 of these women are horrible at talking. And, I mean, at least we know Sasha can do it as a heel, but neither of the other 2 have ever shown even a lick of decent promo ability. And yet here they are, about to be in the women's championship match at a pay-per-view, and most likely at WrestleMania after that.
Right.
I wish talking skills still mattered in the WWE.
You and me both, my friend. You and me both.
Hell, if talking skills still mattered in the WWE, Bray Wyatt would have been champion long before this year.
Not only that, he would have had like a monster run, which I feel like hopefully he's getting ready to have now, but I'm always tentative when it comes to him.
Damian Sandow might still be around because he could talk your freaking, like, he could recite a phone book and it would be interesting because of how charismatic he is and how good he is at talking.
I mean, hell, Damian Sandow might have had an actual successful cash-in if talking actually mattered.
Yeah. So,
but
that whole theory, I always think back to that because I remember watching one of his videos one day and he was like, I kind of got this vibe that he compartmentalized. Like if he wanted wrestling, he went to the indies and PWG and that kind of stuff. And if he just wanted like general entertainment and good talking and stuff, he went to WWE, and I could get that. And then like you realize now that like WWE doesn't even have any great talkers anymore, and the ones that they do have, they don't do anything with.
And you know what, bro? Like, because you brought up Steven initially, so I'm just going to piggyback on that point. When he originally made that point, because I remember those videos, that was when Kane was world champion. And he said, this is why Kane's world champion, because if you remember during his run, he would open a lot of SmackDowns with Kane, cutting a promo. And
great promos, too.
Great promos, too. Yeah, I agree. I should actually go back and watch those promos, because I remember them being really good, and I'm hoping my memory isn't greater than reality. But yeah, like he used Kane as the example because he was the example at the time, and he said Kane is the world champion because he's cutting these great promos and he knows how to talk, and that was really his central thing. Like, you just got to know how to talk. And if he were to look at the product today, I don't know if he'd still stand by that, but I don't really think it corresponds with reality, at least as far as WWE is concerned. But whether you're good at in-ring or talking, you have to be good at something. Otherwise, you could be Dana Brooke as a valet, because that's the one thing I wanted to mention at the jump of this match. Apparently, somebody took a GIF of a botch that Dana had when she had a spot where she was supposed to trip up Bayley, and they showed like she just whiffed and she got nothing but air. And then Dana Brooke actually responded, yeah.
No, you finish your story, then I have something to say about Dana Brooke.
No, because then Dana Brooke replied, when you actually know what you're talking about, then please tweet at me. Annoying when all you do is this. I mess up. Get a life. Because playtime is over. Okay, she didn't say that last part, but you get the idea.
Playtime is over.
Stop making fun of me. Leave me alone. Playtime's over.
Okay, Jocelyn, shut the hell up now.
Exactly. So, what were you getting ready to say?
It profounds me that somebody as uncoordinated and unathletic as Dana Brooke could have ever had a successful career as a powerlifter.
Yeah, that kind of surprises me too.
I don't like. I've never been a professional athlete in my life. I don't claim to be one, but I am very much in the know as far as professional football goes. Like, you tell me a number and what drill as far as the combine goes that was on, and I'll tell you based on height and weight if it was impressive or not, or average or whatever, because that's just how tuned in I am with that. And like, Dana Brooke is one of the least athletic people I've ever seen, but like, at the same time, there's like this weird, like, oh yeah, like she can do like backflips, But at the same time, like, she's, you know what? I shouldn't say least athletic. She's not one of the least athletic people I've ever seen. She's one of the least coordinated people I've ever seen. Like, I feel like every time she's ever been given an opportunity to do anything, even remotely noteworthy on Raw, she's blown it bad. Like, she couldn't put Charlotte's foot on the bottom rope. She couldn't remember to grab Bayley's trunk so that she had a dirty victory over her rather than a clean one. You just mentioned she forgot to trip somebody, apparently. Like, how does this woman, first of all, have a job in sports in general? And second of all, how does she stay on the main roster?
I don't know the answer to any of those questions. I just know that she's awful. Just really, no wonder even in kayfabe, Charlotte swapped her out for Nia Jax. And commentary said, well, Dana didn't seem to like that. I'd be like, well, maybe she should. Maybe this should be the time where she looks in the mirror and sees what a failure she is. Because that's all I thought even when I read her reply tweet.
Like, Charlotte is going to win the title back on Sunday, and then Nia is going to gun for her too.
Yeah. Which, honestly, I might actually be rooting for Nia in that case. Like, if it was just her and Charlotte, I think my money's on Nia.
It's not going to be just the two of them. It's going to be all four of them.
Oh, I know that. Yeah. I'm just saying.
What? I'm going to say it right now. I think Charlotte's going to retain at WrestleMania.
See, and I think Bayley's winning the title back because, they figure, oh, well, we didn't get it right the first time, so let's actually try and do it, even though it's not going to matter because, the first is always more meaningful than the second.
I'm telling you, I'm cashing my check early. I'm getting a payday advance. I'm predicting that Charlotte will walk in and out of WrestleMania as the Raw Women's Champion.
Well, we'll see what the all-knowing Vegas odds decide when the time comes, because that's the only source I really trust anymore. Yeah, but as far as the tag match goes, heels win after Nia pins Bayley off the leg drop. Again, they did a pretty nice job of keeping Nia dominant. Sasha had a really stupid moment in this match to me that I couldn't help but laugh at, and I even tweeted out to Paul William Gregory, apparently she hasn't been listening to you, because Nia knocks her off originally, and she goes back to Bayley, but then Sasha goes on the top rope. And Nia turns around, and she's clearly looking at Sasha. And then Sasha's thinking, oh, well, this weight differential isn't anything. I can still do it. And she tries a crossbody. And you know what happens? She gets thrown right onto Bayley. So that's what you get, Sasha, dumbass.
No.
I just looked at
you, man, that was, I didn't actually pay enough attention to know what happened there. So you had me clinging onto every word, trying to figure out what was about to happen. And I got to tell you, I was shocked by the result of what you were just describing. I never would have predicted that.
I know. It's unfreaking believable. Sasha's looking right at it. No, I'll still give it a go. I can do it. No, you can't. You can't.
How much do you think Sasha Banks weighs?
Dude, she looks to me like maybe 120, maybe a bit more than that.
Dude,
not 120.
Bayley probably weighs closer to 120, if not 115. I would say Sasha maybe 105.
Oh, so you think even less than Bayley? Damn.
Oh my, dude, Sasha's got to be at least 3 inches shorter than Bayley, and I guarantee you she weighs at least 10 pounds less than Bayley. Because now I'm not trying to say either one of them is fat or anything, but to me, you look, first of all, AJ Lee was a little bit shorter than Sasha and a lot more lean, just pure lean than Sasha. And she was 95 pounds.
Right.
So, to me, Sasha is a little bit thicker than AJ Lee, a little bit taller, so let's say 105. And then Bayley, again, a little bit taller than Sasha, a little bit thicker than Sasha. We'll call her 115, maybe 120.
Yeah, her build weight is 114 pounds.
Who?
So, Sasha Banks.
Oh, wow. That shocks me.
Yeah. But regardless, you're stupid. You're stupid for going for it. And
even if she was the 120 that you guessed, still
yeah, it was hopeless, Sasha, and you should have known that. It was bad and you should feel bad. God, I hate all of them so much. I hate everything so much. This really put me in a bad mood. But yeah, what came after this? Oh, Braun and Mick, their little segment, he wants a contract signing. Now, I love you, Braun. And you're so good that you even made me feel wow, that was actually a good promo all amounting to a contract signing. But again, 6 days before the show, if this match wasn't already finalized, get your fucking shit together on a kayfabe front. And as much as I hate to agree with Mick Foley, they've been so protective of the Roman Reigns character that the idea of him even conceding ground to Strowman and saying that, oh, Strowman's really good, I find laughable. Because I think Roman Reigns is so arrogant, but they try and portray it in a babyface way, it's fucking infuriating. So he hasn't even said that Strowman's good. Backing away, yeah, that'll be the fucking day. But Mick, says, fine, I'll give it to you, whatever. So then we go from that to Cass versus Luke Gallows. Didn't really care about this. Cass wins with the big boot. They've got momentum before Sunday because fuck the club. Yeah,
exactly. The club has less credibility than 85% of the tag teams on Raw and all of the tag teams on SmackDown.
Right. Yeah, it's really fucking pathetic. But not as pathetic as what we got next, Sheamus versus Titus O'Neil. And, dude.
Oh my god, I was so bored during this, I forgot to even write it down.
Dude, here's the thing. I didn't even take notes for this because I feel like when a show's this bad, it doesn't even deserve my effort beyond coming up here and talking about it with you. Like, this had the comedy moment of the night. Because, first off, they laid the groundwork for why this match happened. Facebook Live, Titus is like, oh, well, you know Cesaro's going to get destroyed by Joe. And when that happens, you're going to need a new tag team partner. And then Titus tried to claim that he was Irish or something. And then Sheamus turned around to walk away. Sheamus, the guy with a head like a fucking rooster, feels like you're beneath him. And he tries walking away. And Titus is like, hey, don't you walk away from me. And then Titus gets shoved. And then, like, he gets, like, cake or something on his face. And then Cole's like, well, Titus has always been accused of being a brown noser. But then Sheamus comes out. Titus has a really aggressive start. Like, he's coming out, he's beating the crap out of Sheamus, like, not even waiting for the bell to ring. And the comedy comes in when commentary actually says, oh, you know, many people have always said that Titus has all the tools to be a megastar. He's always just been missing that one thing. Or, hey, maybe this is the aggression that Titus needed to fulfill his potential. Potential at what? Like, isn't the guy, first of all, isn't the guy like 39 fucking years old? What potential? Like, I know that wrestling isn't necessarily a young man's game anymore because AJ's pushing 39 and doing his best work, but that's AJ fucking Styles.
Like,
okay?
Literally somebody who's in actual contention for best wrestler on the planet.
Exactly. Whereas Titus, it's like if there was any potential ever, it peaked, which brings me to my next point. Who the fuck has been saying this? Because I need to re-educate some bitches. Seriously. Whoever has said, with even a modicum of sincerity, oh, I think Titus has potential. I hope to God you have a family, because I will come over there and I will discipline you in front of them and be a real fucking role model to your kids. You're a disgrace. And I know you're out there.
I'm not even joking you, John. If Titus O'Neil was the exact same performer that he is right now, same look, same charisma, same everything, same in the ring, same literally everything about him stays the same, except you make him 23 years old, maybe then he would have potential.
Maybe. But
maybe. It's not even a guarantee. Like, we're talking about a 23-year-old who's 6'5", 265, and we're not even sure because he's that bad of a performer.
Yeah, you're trash, Titus. If I was your son, I would eagerly anticipate the day that I could disown your ass because you're pathetic. I'm sorry. I didn't want to come here tonight being this mean, especially after some of the great stuff that Raw did last week, but fuck all, WWE. You managed to pull all that malice out of me. And then Titus O'Neil, who with all the irony in the fucking world, says, make it a win. You never can, Titus. You never can. You fucking suck. And Sheamus bro kicking you as if you were no different than Zack Ryder, really pumped about getting a WWE Championship opportunity because that YouTube clip is the stuff of fucking legends. It's just hilarious to me because that's your spot, Titus. The thing to be scraped off of other people's boots. Get the fuck out of my ring. So yeah, that was Sheamus versus Titus O'Neil. You have any comments?
Is Titus JTG?
You know, dude, the thing is, he would be, except JTG, even though I wouldn't blame people if they don't remember this, when he had his feud with Chad Gaspard, he won the feud. He won the strap match they had at Extreme Rules.
I mean, yeah.
So he can actually say...
Titus beat Darren Young in their feud.
And that's true, too. The thing is, though, I mean, well, actually, no, I can't even say that because Titus is a former tag team champion. Well, fuck. Well, then still, I guess even then, JTG is somehow worse than Titus O'Neil, but barely. Barely.
Well, no. From a subjective standpoint, at least, I always actually kind of enjoy JTG as a performer, and I thought he was actually entertaining. Whereas Titus, if you think he's entertaining, it's because he's like The Room, like so bad it's good.
Right.
Not actually a good performer.
Right. And Kid Coheed said Titus is the new Ahmed Johnson. You know, funny thing is, Ahmed Johnson was before my time. I mean, I've heard of him, but I actually always heard the opposite about Ahmed Johnson. Like, wasn't the guy a former Intercontinental champion and groomed to be a WWF champion? Like, they wanted to push him really big. You ever feel like they had any of those ambitions with Titus?
The thing about Ahmed Johnson was he kind of fit the Titus mold because he couldn't talk and he couldn't wrestle.
Really? Again, like I barely watched any of his stuff, so I can't make an assessment. I can't really put my voice into that conversation. I just found it interesting to see that name, being discussed. But yeah, I mean, this is your life, Titus. This is your life. Deal with it. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, no. Let's just move on.
Okay, Seth Rollins segment with Corey Graves. What did you think about this?
Was this the segment of the night, or was it just me?
If it wasn't segment of the night, it was damn close because it was a quality segment for sure. I completely agree.
Yeah, because, I mean, either Rollins is legitimately convinced that he's not going to be able to show up at WrestleMania, and he was actually broken up about it during this promo, or he is a way better actor than I've ever given him credit for.
Right. And dude, like, for me, even though I enjoyed the Strowman stuff more because it took an unexpected turn that I really didn't see coming, with Strowman being dominant yet again for the most part, with Rollins, all I could say to this, in a positive way, mind you, like I don't mean this negatively, was finally. Because I've been waiting for a promo like this from Rollins ever since they turned him with the Triple H betrayal. Like his line when he said, maybe I deserve this. I'm like, finally, Rollins is owning up to his shit. And it feels so good. I'm like, you don't have to make excuses for why you're different than Kevin Owens or this and that. Remember, I would say on TWitWows, you don't have to do these gymnastics. All you have to do is own it and say that it's different now because you're on your own or whatever you want to say to that effect. Seeing Rollins own what he did, that, yeah, maybe I bought in a little too much and maybe my own naivete is to blame because it is Triple H and I should have seen it coming. But still, the heartbreak was palpable because he knows all of that and it doesn't change his situation that he just might not make WrestleMania. This was Rollins' finest hour as a babyface to me. I thought this was quality stuff. What did you think about Triple H's interruption and that whole thing?
Well, before we get to that, I did just want to say that as far as Rollins' first promo goes, isn't it ironic that it takes a guy getting put on the shelf for him to finally get some decent writing?
I know, right? Jesus.
I'm about to say something, and I want us to all take a moment to acknowledge how ridiculous it is that this is even something that I can just reasonably say. I hope they don't screw up his return from injury this time like they did last time.
Yeah, really. Because Rollins gave you one hell of a table to work with this promo. Like, you'd really have to actively try to fuck this up.
Did you not see the Seth Rollins WWE 24? Because I'm pretty sure that set a nice table too.
Yeah, so that's 2 times. 2 times now. I'm just hoping that they don't make the same mistake twice. But then again, look who we're talking about. So, the Triple H retort, what did you think about that?
Man. I feel like maybe Triple H is doing a little bit too much and acknowledging a little bit too much. And at the very least, Seth needs to... I feel like, why couldn't we just do this past summer when Seth came back the first time,
Right, so you feel like what? Like all this stuff is coming a little late, or?
Yeah, well, because like Triple H is talking about how, I handed you everything and you stood there and you smiled because, you thought that you deserved it or whatever. That's literally the entire story that we should have gotten when Seth came back. And by the way, I do want to say, Triple H said a really weird line in this where he said that he fed Seth and all this stuff, but then he said that Seth bit the hand that feeds him.
Right.
How exactly did he do that? Like, is Triple H seriously blaming Seth Rollins and insinuating that Seth stabbed him in the back because he got hurt?
That's what I think it is, yeah.
Because that's the dumbest storyline I think I've ever heard.
I mean, here's the thing. I agree with you that it really doesn't hold up to scrutiny. Like, if we wanted to make logical characters, which I think WWE a lot of the time has no interest in doing, but in just getting that cheap heat and being a scumbag, blaming somebody for their own injury. That's a quick route to do it, and that's really what I think they're going for. They're counting on us knowing that it's absurd to get Triple H to eat. Like, oh, how could you blame somebody for getting hurt when it happens to all of us, kind of thing. So, I mean, I agree they could have come up with something better than that, but I think they just really want to make Triple H the very clearly defined heel here, and that's the best route to do it. That was at least my logic.
But, like, you know what? I wish Seth would acknowledge that what Triple H is saying makes no sense. Like, Triple H is saying, you bit the hand that feeds you, and Seth isn't replying to that. He isn't telling him, like, how exactly did I bite the hand that feeds me? And then Triple H would have to actually answer that question.
Right. So
then,
really,
like,
just, yeah.
Even if Rollins doesn't want to reply again after that, just getting Triple H to say, you bit the hand that feeds you by getting hurt, that makes him a dick. But when Triple H just says you bit the hand that feeds you, people who aren't as in tune with the product as some others might just think like, oh, well, maybe Rollins really does deserve this then.
So is this kind of, because I'll never forget the one blog post you wrote, is this kind of like pulling a Triple H because like he's still kind of protecting himself?
100%, yes.
Yeah. Because it just kind of comes off like when you put it that way, how it comes off to me is Triple H is still actively trying to protect himself, but also further the angle at the same time.
I mean, first of all, he pulled a Triple H in his promo on Joe's debut by talking about how he's a creator and talking about, you know, like going like all badass and like, oh, I put this stupid tie on, and basically acting like he's like this caged animal who just can't wait to get out and beat somebody's ass. And he knows the crowd eats that up. He knows the crowd loves that. So that was a pulling a Triple H kind of thing. And now tonight he's being intentionally vague because he knows Seth isn't going to return fire because it's not in a script. And he's making it seem like Seth is legitimately the bad guy in this situation. Like Seth somehow turned on Triple H and stabbed him and the Authority in the back when fact of the matter is, all he did was get hurt. Like that makes Triple H the bad guy, but Triple H isn't acknowledging that that's why he doesn't like Seth now.
Right. Yeah.
And Seth did the same thing. Stephanie McMahon, during her little interaction with Seth a few weeks ago, she did the exact same thing. She told Seth that he stabbed the Authority in the back. And again, there was no rebuttal. There was no like, oh, I stabbed you in the back because I got hurt carrying the weight of this company on my back. Like, he didn't stab anybody, that he didn't turn on anybody. He and the Authority were still cool when he came back. And then the whole thing with Triple H turning on him happened. So who stabbed who in the back? Who bit whose hand? Who turned on who?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like, you know, when you look at it that way, there is a lot that leaves to be desired here when it comes to the interactions, because there could be bite there and there could be strong emotional resonance. Again, when it was just Seth talking with Corey, almost like two guys talking in the back too. Like, I like the flow of this interview too, because these guys are friends. You know, they did chum it up, and I got kind of that air here. Which I felt really helped Rollins. Like, it was nice to see him let his walls down and again, say, maybe I do deserve this. I love that.
Yeah, and the interaction that Rollins had just with Graves, like that interaction to me was awesome. That was great.
It was sorely needed, too, because as I've been saying ever since they wanted to, like, turn Rollins' face, like, it's not that the whole thing's been a train wreck. They would have their bright spots, but as far as it came to, like, promos and motivations, like, it was just a misstep. They had the wrong foot in front of the other one, and I feel like this is a correction of sorts. I didn't really mind the Triple H promo, but I definitely get what your concerns are. And I will say, too, to this segment's credit, I thought they created a nice atmosphere, because when you have Triple H on one side of the ring and Joe on the other, you always kind of have that feeling. Because, I mean, I'm still hearing that Seth's good to go for Mania, and I definitely think that was confirmed when Seth does fire back at the end. But, like, you never know. Like, is Joe going to come in there and take a cheap shot at Rollins? Is Rollins going to take a cheap shot at somebody because maybe it's like, oh, haha, I'm you know, better than I let on. You know, I'm playing the game. You know, so I feel like they created a good atmosphere, like, where something might happen. And then even when nothing does, you know, it's
that was another thing, too. Like, they actually acknowledged that his character was stupid because he just was convinced that Triple H was never going to turn on him, even though Triple H turned on Randy Orton, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, like, and I do love that, you know.
Guys, you do realize this is the architect, right? Like his nickname is supposed to mean that he's smart.
And that's a problem I have had with Rollins' character for a while now. Because let's also remember, this is the same guy that Orton told to his face, pretty much, "I'm gonna beat the shit out of you," and Rollins did his cackle, and then it happened. So, yeah, guy isn't exactly the brightest bulb in the box, but you know, we work with what we got, I guess. Um, but solid segment, great emotional gravity to it. Really enjoyed it. We go from that to Big Show versus the Shining Stars. Big Show wins after a choke slam. I have nothing else to say about this. Do you?
Move on.
We have Jack. Well, actually, but before that, we have Neville and Tony Nese backstage. You know, Neville pretty much saying, you know, we got this tag team match and all this stuff I want to do to Gallagher. Like, I want to get that edge before Fastlane and show everybody why I'm the king of the cruiserweights. Tony Nese is like, that's fine, man. You know, you do you, but I'm going to focus on what's in the best interest of the premier athlete. And then Neville just looks at him like, you motherfucker, did you not hear one thing I said? But simply he just says, don't screw this up. But, of course, the tag match itself ends with Neville abandoning his tag partner again. The interesting thing of note here in this tag match, though, Jack Gallagher's brought some new toys because after his dropkick in the corner, rather than pinning Tony Nese there, he gets Nese in a submission, which jury's still out as far as I'm concerned. What did you think of Jack Gallagher's submission hold?
Didn't even see it, brother. I paid some attention to this Raw, I promise, but I didn't. I saw like the rubble, the wreckage at the end after the match is over as Neville was walking out, and you know I heard the bell ring, and I kind of assumed it was a submission victory because I didn't hear the 3 count prior to the bell ringing, but I didn't actually see the submission.
You know what, brother? Much like Seth Rollins, this is my just desserts because you carried the load last week, so that's not a problem for me. I did see it. I didn't think it was bad, but honestly, I don't really like that they're doing an add-on to the drop kick. I like the suddenness of the drop kick, and then he could get a win off of that. I felt like it had enough credibility on its own, and I feel like it has a great pop for a finish. But then if you just kind of
Do
add
you
the
remember
submission
what
onto
the
it,
submission was?
I think he like grabs an arm and he like wraps the leg like around the head, but it's almost like he's like in a crucifix position. You know what I mean? So like his back's kind of
Crucifix armbar?
not a crucifix armbar. No, it's kind of like head-based submission. Almost it looked like to me. I don't know. Maybe Chad could help me out because it's really hard to articulate. I wish I could give you a visual, but yeah, just a really interesting looking submission. I wasn't really too impressed by it. I just wish he would have pinned Nese off the dropkick because again, I love that as a finish. But it is what it is. They're just trying to refine Gallagher a little bit, I guess, in ring-wise, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. Babyfaces get the win. And then we get, oh, yeah, this whole thing with Sasha and Bayley. And Sasha being like, oh, it's okay, Bayley, because I'm going to be in her corner. And then Stephanie just comes in, and she's Stephanie. Oh, guys.
Oh, but you forgot to mention, John, we have a new Hall of Fame inductee.
Beth Phoenix, congratulations to you. But then we get back to Stephanie, because, yeah, I mean, the Hall of Fame, she's getting inducted. I know a lot of people are pissed because, where's China? Yeah, that, guys.
Dude, forget, I mean, I'm sorry, I understand the China thing because of the sex tape. Where's Victoria?
You know, that was a name I didn't see, but you're right. Like, where is Victoria, really?
Where is Molly Holly?
Didn't Molly Holly get inducted or no? I thought she got her turn already.
Did she?
Did she? Oh, you're probably right, and she didn't. But, like, Victoria is even more surprising, though, to keep on.
I mean, okay, what about Ivory?
Yeah, that's true. Like, where's that?
What about... Yeah, like, okay, so, no, okay, what about Terry Reynolds?
Yeah. You know, and the funny thing with the Victoria,
she's definitely not in the WWE Hall of Fame. Molly Holly, I'm talking about this time.
Right. Why I like the Victoria example, though, is because most recently I've been hearing murmurs that she may be coming back for a return run. And, like, you know, that would have been a great tie-in, but no, we'll do Beth Phoenix. You know, whatever.
I feel like that rumor has been going on for years now. By the time she actually gets to WWE, she's going to be 50.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I only heard it recently. So, like, you saying years, like, I haven't heard it in nearly years.
Dude, basically since she got out of TNA.
Right.
We gotta take a second to realize, like, Victoria's 46, guys. She's not a spring chicken anymore. Like, I do not understand why. Like, to me, she I don't know. Like, I guess I'm the only person that kind of puts her in a category with like Lita and Trish Stratus as far as best female performers in WWE history.
Right. No, I loved her. I mean, hell, because of her character at the time when she first came in, her and Trish had the first like women's hardcore match in the WWE. So you want to talk about blazing trails and jerking yourselves off? Like Victoria gave that to you guys, and she had one of the most
Yeah.
interesting characters in the division at the time when she first came in. I love the Victoria character, so definitely she should get her nod. They gave it to Beth Phoenix, and I'll tell you, I was
To
indifferent.
me, I'll always remember Beth Phoenix as the best of the worst because she was the best thing going in the worst era of female wrestling in WWE history, in my opinion.
Right, right. That's a worthwhile point. I would certainly agree with that. And she's getting her nod for the Hall of Fame. So you know what? Good for her. Happy for her. But it is what it is. And then we go from that woman to these women, and you guys already know Stephanie pretty much mocks Bayley and Sasha, and she lets Sasha know, hey, you're going to be facing Nia Jax at Fastlane. La-di fucking da. We go from that to Cesaro versus Samoa Joe. Now, you actually said that you felt like this match was pretty meh by your standards, so I'm going to let you have the floor. What exactly was your problem with this?
What match are we talking about?
Samoa Joe versus Cesaro.
Oh yeah, I don't. You know what? I might be the only person that says this, but I freaking hate when people just sell an injury from beginning to end of a match, and it's not even like one of those psychological injuries, like you use like your arm to deliver your finisher, so I'm going to work over your arm. Like that's cool. But when somebody just goes into a match injured and works the entire match selling the injury that they go into the match with, I hate that. And Cesaro had a knee injury in this match, and it wasn't because Joe caused said knee injury. It was a pre-existing knee injury, and even if it is kayfabe, even if the knee injury isn't real, they should never have something like that happen. Because even though like the whole excuse is like, oh, but he went into the match injured, so he might have been able to beat Joe if it wasn't for that. Like, I don't want to watch Cesaro wrestle half a match.
Right.
I don't
And
want to watch a Cesaro match where Cesaro is working at half speed because he is such a great seller and so committed to kayfabe that he's unwilling to even no sell for long enough to string together one of his awesome chains of offense. Like, to me, that's the dumb. Like, that's like trying to like that's I can't even think of a good enough analogy to describe how dumb that is, in my opinion. It's so stupid that you're intentionally, and I mean this in a literal way too, handicapping one of your performers and trying to make them work at a lower level than their ability for the sake of a half-assed story.
my thing is, I can see where you're coming from. I think my whole gripe with this, because I did like the match. I like the heel work of Joe. But at the same time, though, they're really not doing Joe any favors, are they? Because his first
No,
match, he goes up against the very heavily protected Roman Reigns. And then in this match, it's because Cesaro hurt himself because he tripped himself up. It wasn't even something that Samoa Joe did, to your point. So how does this help Joe? How does this make Joe seem like a badass? Like, he's still delivering on the mic. Joe's still delivering those goods. But again, we don't live in the world that Steven used to think we live in, where all you have to do is talk, because apparently that's not the case. And you give him matches like this, that's not going to do him any favors. Like, why couldn't he just beat Cesaro straight up? Or if you wanted to do the injury angle for whatever reason, why not have Joe cause it with the variety of submission
dude,
holds or just holds in general that he knows?
dude, this match started at 10:40, and I was so excited because I was thinking this is going to be our go home freaking segment. Like, I thought we were going to get like a legit like 25-minute match from these guys, and then it ended up being half-assed because of the Cesaro injury, and then it ended up only lasting like 8 minutes, if that.
Yeah, dude, you know what? It's so funny because I had the same optimism that you did. And then when Cesaro was making his entrance and he made it successfully, that got me even more excited because I'm like, oh, no, sneak attack's great. But then I remembered we haven't had the contract signing yet. And
Yeah,
that's what killed it for me because I remembered, oh, shit, we still have a contract signing segment because Roman fucking Reigns. So, yeah, this isn't even going to get 10 minutes, is it? And lo and behold, they did the match very quickly because
dude, they intentionally forwent a Goldberg main event segment for Roman.
Yeah. Just really marinate on that for a second, guys.
Please let that sink in, guys. They decided that the 50-year-old attraction that they're bringing in for ticket sales should be the curtain jerker because of Roman Reigns in the main event.
And really, by extension, if you want to look at it from another vantage point, because I've always said, you are what you're booked and perception is reality in wrestling, they pretty much said that Roman Reigns is more important than the Universal title because that whole Goldberg thing is their Universal title feud.
That's actually got me thinking, how much you want to bet Roman Taker main events Mania?
Oh my God. Honestly, at this
it's
point...
It's going to be Roman winning, too.
At this point, nothing would surprise me. Nothing would surprise me whatsoever.
Oh my God, somebody kill me, please. I feel like I should sing that Adam Sandler song from The Wedding Singer.
Silverlu's just like, what? Like, he doesn't even know what happened. Don't worry, none of us do either, my friend. None of us do either. Just shh, let it take you away. Joe wins with the Uranagi, which still hasn't grown on me. I missed the Muscle Buster, but what are you going to do? Then... he pretty much after he's done his match, he apparently cut a promo that I'm going to be honest with you, I don't remember at all. Do you remember anything that Joe said?
I have in my notes that Joe cut a promo post-match. No details.
Okay. That's fine. So he cut a promo apparently. Sami Zayn attacked, and I got to give credit to Sami Zayn. I may not like him in that fandom perspective, but I've always given him credit objectively, and objectively he continues being a great babyface. That dive he did off the stage onto Joe just because he wanted to get at Joe that badly, I love that. I thought that was a great little touch. I think Zayn versus Joe at Fastlane, honestly, it could be match of the night. Like, that could be the match that really gives your... Yeah.
What do you mean could be? What's going to challenge it?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I'm actually intrigued about the prospect of Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns because I feel like the story's been put together well enough, but I really do believe that's going to end via Taker interference. My only concern about Zayn Joe, because I feel like this is a point that somebody made that I agreed with, I don't know if they're going to have like an all-out competitive matchup like you'd expect in NXT. I wonder if they're just going to go in with a different booking philosophy because Joe's the destroyer and Zayn really is like this scrapper, this underdog, that it may be like really one-sided and then Zayn gets the comeback, but then he gets stuffed out. So I don't know what to expect from those two, but it should be good regardless. I'm really looking forward to Zayn Joe at Fastlane. So that was that. And then we get our contract signing. And Strowman pretty much telling Foley to his face that he's pathetic, and then Foley trying to fire up, but then you remember, oh, wait, he's old and irrelevant. It just makes me laugh even harder. And then, Strowman just waits for Reigns. They don't even want to talk, which I can give him credit for that. Nobody likes talking in a contract signing. They have their fight.
I'm sorry, but this is one place that I will not complain that we didn't have to hear Reigns talk tonight.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. No, I meant that sincerely. Like, nobody likes talking in a contract signing, so fuck it. Let's just fight. And I like that, mainly because, again, Reigns got his ass into him.
To be fair, my favorite contract signing of all time was pretty much just a glorified talking segment, so...
Wait, what, Punk McMahon?
Yep.
All right. Fair enough. But then again, that's CM Punk. That guy could make talking into just, like, a fucking experience. He's a rare breed. What was I going to say? So, yeah, we have our brawl. Strowman stands tall after, chest meets sternum. But, of course, that chest isn't going to be caved in because Kevlar. But more importantly, because Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, able to write his own name, which led to one of my favorite tweets of the night from Paul William Gregory, where he pretty much said, like, oh, it's amazing that somebody's music plays because they managed to write their own name. Yeah, that's how freaking impressive Roman Reigns is. So I really enjoyed this, though. Strowman, again.
Just paint that picture. Like, you hear Raw, da, 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 da. And the next thing you know, Roman's like, got it. Sign name. Signs his name. Da-da, 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 da-da. I did it, guys. I signed it.
Oh, my odds and my ribs, but my odds.
Roman's booking really, even from a kayfabe standpoint, makes you think, like, he's not that really that tough. He's just really dramatic. Like he's not like this super tough guy who feels a lot of pain and just overcomes it. He just oversells everything.
Yeah.
Like, oh, punch in the face. Oh God. Oh, that punch hurt so hard. Just kidding. Come back.
And I love how Michael Cole tried selling it too, like shock pads to a freaking like what's this? Oh, Roman Reigns, the fight of Roman Reigns. Shut up, Cole. You know,
Dude,
I don't want to hear about the fight of
the
Roman.
thing is, like, Raw created a legitimately shocking moment with that turnbuckle spot. Like when Roman got thrown into that turnbuckle and it exploded, I was like, oh my, like I jumped. I was like, holy crap, that actually happened. And then no more than 30 seconds later, Roman was recovering and signing his name on a piece of paper.
Yeah, like that is, and we've talked about it, and I guarantee you we probably won't stop talking about it for the foreseeable future. It's like Reigns always gets priority when
Dude, like, they went out of their way to create this awesome, devastating moment for the sole purpose of Roman no-selling it.
Exactly. And Ashton, that's the heartbreaking thing, because as I said at the beginning of the show, when we had that extended like heat of the night segment, I do feel like for the most part they've done right by Strowman, but if you really let the thoughts gnaw away at you and you really dig and you pry, you realize, well, have they really done right by Strowman, or have they really just been caring about protecting Roman Reigns? And the line starts to get blurred a little bit, especially with segments like this, because yeah, that's a great visual and a great moment for Strowman, but Reigns still signs his own name. So what was that? Who was that spot, I should say, really for? And Roman, exactly. And that's what's sad. Like, while they're treating Strowman good, let's just keep it good. And then the moment things go south, I hope he gets drafted to SmackDown so that they can, like, fucking salvage it and keep it going. Because
I love that it's gotten to the point that, like, anybody you like, oh, please let them get drafted to SmackDown.
Yes! Because that's the competent fucking show. Even though I do stand by what I said, that I feel like Strowman's such a character and he's got credibility right now. And now that could always change. That's why I really emphasize this particular moment in time that I could believe him winning either the Universal title or the WWE title. Whereas in most cases, we're just like, oh, they'd make a good WWE champion, but never a Universal champion. I still feel like Strowman has his feet in both camps. So that's how good to me he is right now. But that could very easily change like that, given Raw writing. Tonight, he stands tall. Good stuff. But, of course, Reigns always has to have, I'm not out. It's still my time, and passes out. So yeah, we got our Fastlane match. It's confirmed. Reigns didn't run away. Strowman gets to have competition, and Undertaker's going to make an appearance, which I'm pretty sure we're all confident in. Do you have any comments you want to make about this ending segment?
Not really. Not that we haven't already mentioned.
All right. Well, then we move on to our next segment: high spots and low shots. I am so tempted to make the low shot me this week for suffering through this shit, but I will make the low shot. You know what? I'm going to make the low shot Bailey.
This episode of Raw is the kind of episode of Raw that makes me really regret ever coming back to reviewing Raws.
Yeah, dude.
This
was bad.
Last week's show was like an oasis in a desert because this week was all sand.
Yeah. I mean, this was not good at all. I really did not care for this.
Yeah. And tonight's episode and really like the booking of Roman since the Royal Rumble has convinced me that WWE is actually going to try and make Taker the heel in their feud.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Roman being the heel in this feud was the only thing that gave me even a modicum of hope.
Yeah,
but of course,
me too, until I realized that's not going to happen.
Yeah, but of course, the number one creed of the Scum Squad, never try, never hope, never anything, really, except cry. Except cry. God, if I could just get out of...
Wait. Do scumbags cry?
This one does, after that experience. Not gonna...
What a response. That was gold.
But yeah, my low shot's Bailey because in one night she continues to have the credibility of her title win questioned, and she also gets pinned. Like when it rains, it fucking pours. Apparently, so Bailey
pinned by somebody who she's historically had the number of too.
Exactly. So way to go there, Bailey. Way to go there. Even your inflatable tube men deflate at the sight of your failures. Who's your low shot?
You know, God, it's so tempting to make my low shot this crowd tonight.
Yeah.
Because, like, we give low shots to people who had, like, a kayfabe bad night and who just had a poor performance. And I think this crowd fits into both of those categories. Because, like, they had a crappy night from a kayfabe standpoint because this was just a bad show. And they also had a bad night performance-wise because they were dead for the most part and they chanted CM Punk at the worst possible time.
Yeah, this crowd, I mean, if I could pull my pants down by my ankles, I would love to just give a steaming shit on this crowd. Oh, man, that'd be amazing. Just be like, God, that's good hatred. So yeah.
Okay. I think I'm going to give my actual low shot to Cesaro, though, because I had hope, which, again, Scum Squad rule number 1, never do that, and I made that mistake. And I thought that we were going to get a reasonably long Joe Cesaro match, and then it ended up lasting like 8 minutes, and Cesaro worked with a bum knee for most of the match, and then he ended up losing to a Uranagi.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? You pretty much said everything that needed to be said. My high spot, because he not only had another, like, hit it out of the park segment, but he put me in a great fucking mood. Braun fucking Strowman. I love him. He continues to keep me hooked in and be the best part of the show for me. Honorary high spot would be Seth Rollins because I really enjoyed the promo. But yeah, big ups has got to be Braun Strowman. I mean, if you want to make him your actual high spot, you can because I only gave him the honorary spot because I feel like Strowman outshined him here too.
I'm not gonna be like, you know what, John? I think I'm gonna take your second best.
So who is your high spot then?
You know, strictly from a kayfabe standpoint, I'm going to make my high spot Goldberg because he's going to be champion in 6 days.
Yeah, I mean, why not? And he completely no-sold Owens' promo because he's fucking Goldberg.
And he completely no-sold Owens' promo. And, I mean, he got to get out of the arena at 8:15, no problem. He probably got home before his kid's bedtime, if I had to guess.
And he got paid. He got paid.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. Yeah. He probably made like $125,000 tonight for this appearance.
I mean, you know, Brock still hasn't beat because, as somebody noted when I did watch parts of Raw last week, Brock got paid a handsome sum just to mean mug at the camera while Heyman talked. But yeah, I mean, those two, they know how to get it, man.
Hawk, that's so much more work.
I know, right? So, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Because, yeah, I mean, yeah, Seth had great moments, but I honestly still think that Goldberg is a better pick because, unlike Seth, he's going to be a champion in 6 days, probably gets paid more than Seth on his current deal, and only had to talk for 15 minutes. Meanwhile, Seth, even though I don't think he will, even in still kayfabe-wise, is looking at the prospect of missing his second straight WrestleMania. That's got to be a great fucking feeling.
Yeah.
So, next segment, Raw Request. With all the hate and bile inside of me, I really legitimately want to make this suck less. But there are two problems with that. One, we're
I feel like our Raw Request is suck less like once every 2 or 3 weeks.
And see, that's what I was going to get to. The problem with suck less is twofold. One, we're TWitWoW, and as much as I hate to do it for Raw when they don't deserve it, I try and hold myself to standards. After all, I'm not James. I actually have standards. Second of all, okay, suck less doesn't work because clearly it falls on deaf ears. I say suck less, they suck more. So maybe I need to become bilingual or something. I don't freaking know. So my Raw request, what's it going to be here? I hate everyone so much. Let me really think about it. You know what? My Raw request, it seems like you started planting the seeds tonight of doing something with Jinder and Rusev because they had tension. I don't care who you make the babyface and who you make the heel. Rusev might actually be the babyface because he does have the charisma, I think, to pull it off. Though, again, they're both foreigners, so I fucking doubt it. Just have Rusev go over. I don't care who's who or what's what. Just have Rusev go over and move on with his damn life. So that's my Raw request. Get Rusev over like in this program and then have him do better shit. Because clearly, I really believe you started planting the seeds tonight. Finish what you started, have Rusev come out victorious, and then move on. I don't even care if it's to his third United States Championship reign. I don't give a fuck. Just do something. That's my Raw request. What's your Raw request?
My Raw request is to start treating the club the way that the Revival gets treated in NXT.
Yes. Oh my God, we can only dream.
That I feel like that's specific enough that I don't really need to explain myself any further.
You really don't. You want to get out of here?
Let's.
Awesome. All right, guys. This has been Raw. This has been TWitWoW. The best wrestling podcast made
We
for
got
wrestling.
through this. You're damn right we're the best.
Goddamn fucking right we are. Wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. You're damn right. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. We were in the trenches tonight with this fucking Raw. And guys, I'm not going to plug all of our stuff. Why? Because it's already in the description. Because, you know, we have the Twitter there, the Facebook there, even the subreddit, and the Patreon and the Teespring. So everything that you guys should check out, it is in there. Please check it out. The only thing
Yeah, guys,
I will...
I know, John, you're in the middle of already talking about it, but I did want to say today is the last day of February. And by today, I mean Tuesday, because we've been going for over 2 hours on this review. But yeah, today, meaning Tuesday, is the last day of February. We're at $49 pledged. And if we hit 80, we'll be doing live reactions to all 4 episodes of SmackDown Live in March. And that's looking like a long shot right now, but maybe somebody wants to come in with the miracle $30 donation or $31 donation, I guess it would have to be. At hump,
Right.
Because, man, it would be awesome to be able to do that, but it is time, and it is, you know, us not being able to take notes, and it is an alternative to TwitWoW and that kind of stuff. So it's not something that we're going to just do, and that's why it's a Patreon community goal, because that's like you guys being like, here, guys, treat yourselves, you know?
Exactly. So let's see if we can achieve that goal. You know, the power rests with you. What I'm going to do, since you already plugged that, I'm going to plug 2 things. First off, I'm going to give you a rundown for this week because it's a pay-per-view week. We have a lot going on. You guys have already heard the Raw review. Mercifully, we're done talking about that piece of shit product. But tomorrow, you can expect SmackDown TwitWoW, where we talk about the fallout of Luke Harper versus AJ Styles. God, that sounds amazing. NXT.
I'll tell you what you get tomorrow. You get the fallout of the A show.
Exactly. The fallout of the A show with the A podcast TwitWoW. We will be covering SmackDown. If I'm not mistaken, Ashton, we're going back to NXT reviews starting this Wednesday. And we picked a great episode to come back on because there are 2 title matches. Again, Peyton Royce versus Asuka for the NXT Women's Championship and AOP versus DIY for the NXT Tag Team titles. So you can expect coverage of that show, which is looking very promising on this podcast. Then Friday, probably at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Fastlane preview and predictions. Join us. We're going to talk about the entire card. I'm sure we'll have a lot to say about how this card, you know, relates to WrestleMania, all that good stuff. Should be a very spirited discussion about some matches. Others, we'll see, because I'm telling you, this has been a very poorly built show, in my opinion. Sunday is going to be Fastlane live reactions. So you're going to want to join us there. You know the TwitWoW chat for pay-per-views is one of the best places on the internet. You guys always deliver. I'd like to think we always deliver, and it's a great freaking time. So guys, bring your best, because we may be tearing this show apart, or we may be pleasantly surprised.
I mean, even if you're not planning on watching Fastlane, still show up, because we have at least a half a dozen people who don't even watch the pay-per-views who show up in TwitWoW chat just because of how much fun listening to live reactions and chatting with TwitWoW fans could be.
Exactly. It is a great experience. You have to be there to really appreciate it, and I'd love us to see some like great numbers and just everybody coming together and either tearing apart this show or being pleasantly surprised collectively. So yeah, Fastlane live reactions this Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Be there. And now, last plug I want to make, because you've got a good chunk of time for this. Q&A number 9 is going to be March 31st, the end of the month. Last Friday of every month we do Q&A. This month, or next month I should say in March, it's going to be on the 31st. The new cap is 4 questions. I have a pinned tweet on my Twitter if you want to tweet me your questions. Of course, you already know Ashton's handle. It's in the description again. You can check out our Facebook page. Leave a like if you do that, and you can message us there. I know Alex Foster's particularly fond of that method. You can wait for this video to finish processing, and you can comment your questions here. You have a multitude of avenues that you can exercise to get your questions in. No reason why you shouldn't. You've got ample time, again, until the 31st. Cap is 4 questions going forward. We raised the cap by 1 question. You can divvy them up any way. It could be 4 for both of us, or it could be just 4 for Ashton or all 4 for me if you're just wanting to play some psychological warfare. You know, that power rests completely with you, so get your questions in however you'd like, and 31st should be a very interesting Q&A. Q&A number 9, one shy from double digits, so should be a fun time. And yeah, that's it for now. Again, guys, tune in tomorrow for SmackDown TWitWoW, and until then, tune in and peace out.